In the heart of the city, where towering buildings cast long shadows and neon lights flickered against the cold November sky, Black Friday unfolded like an annual ritual. People flocked to the sprawling mall, drawn by the promise of jaw-dropping discounts and once-in-a-lifetime deals. The atmosphere crackled with excitement as shoppers hurriedly lined up outside stores, eager to seize the best bargains before they vanished like whispers in the wind. Among the throng of bargain hunters, Sarah, a young college student, was brimming with enthusiasm. Clutching her shopping list and navigating through the pulsating crowd, she darted from store to store, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. But amidst the chaos, a sense of unease settled in the pit of her stomach, a subtle prickling sensation that refused to fade. As dusk descended, casting a scary glow through the mall's glass facades, Sarah noticed a figure that seemed out of place. A man clad in a dark hoodie, his features obscured by shadows. He moved with an unsettling sense of purpose, weaving through the bustling masses like a specter drifting through a fog. Sarah brushed off her apprehension, attributing it to the frenzied atmosphere of the shopping extravaganza. The mall's interior buzzed with excitement, the air thick with the scent of coffee mingled with the faint aroma of new merchandise. The incessant chatter of excited shoppers echoed against the walls, punctuated by the occasional shrill laughter. Sarah found herself drawn into the whirlwind of consumerism, her initial discomfort fading into the background as she succumbed to the allure of the sales. As the night deepened, the throngs of shoppers dwindled, leaving behind a quieter, almost dark ambience. Stores began to close their shutters, signaling the end of the frenetic shopping spree. Sarah, laden with bags and weary from the day's excitement, decided to head for the exit. A sudden shiver raced down her back as she realized she was being followed. A faint rustling of footsteps, barely audible over the hum of distant voices. Glancing back, she caught a glimpse of the hooded figure from earlier, his shadowy form looming closer. Panic surged within her, and she quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest. The mall, once bustling with life, now seemed hauntingly desolate. The flickering lights cast elongated shadows that danced along the empty corridors, amplifying Sarah's growing sense of dread. She veered down narrow alleys and deserted passages, desperate to shake off her pursuer. But the hooded figure persisted, a menacing silhouette in the darkness. With every step, Sarah's fear intensified. Her breaths came in ragged gasps, and her pulse thundered in her ears. Her mind raced, conjuring terrifying scenarios, each more gruesome than the last. She stumbled and glanced over her shoulder, her eyes widening in horror as the hooded figure closed the distance between them. In a last-ditch attempt to escape, Sarah dashed towards the emergency exit, her trembling hands fumbling with the latch. The door swung open with a creak, and she burst into the cool night air, her lungs heaving with exertion. She sprinted across the empty parking lot, her feet pounding against the asphalt. But the sound of pursuit echoed behind her. A blood-curdling scream tore through the silence as Sarah felt a vice-like grip seize her shoulder. She twisted around to confront her assailant, but before she could react, a glint of steel flashed in the moonlight. Pain exploded through her body as a blade plunged into her abdomen, ripping a strangled cry from her lips. Gasping for breath, Sarah collapsed to the ground, her vision swimming in a haze of agony. The hooded figure loomed over her, his face concealed by the shadows, as he delivered the final blow. Darkness enveloped her, and the world faded into oblivion. The next morning, the headline screamed of a gruesome Black Friday tragedy. A young woman found brutally murdered in the mall's parking lot. Panic swept through the city as rumors of a deranged serial killer among the shoppers spread like wildfire. The mall, once a bustling hub of consumerism, now bore witness to unspeakable horror. Story 2. The anticipation of Black Friday hung thick in the air like an impending storm. Crowds congregated outside the mall gates, their murmurs forming a symphony of excitement as they eagerly awaited the doors to swing open. Among them was Mia, a young woman with a passion for bargain hunting. The throng surged forward as the clock struck midnight, flooding the mall with a sea of shoppers. Mia navigated through the chaos, her eyes alight with the promise of irresistible deals. But amidst the frenzy, a peculiar unease nestled in the pit of her stomach, a feeling she couldn't shake. As the night wore on, the mall teemed with life, its corridors packed with eager consumers. The air buzzed with energy, the scent of new merchandise mingling with the cacophony of voices. But amidst the hustle and bustle, something sinister lurked in the shadows. Reports began to surface, whispers among the crowd of people disappearing without a trace. At first it was dismissed as hearsay, a figment of overactive imaginations. But as the night deepened, the disappearances became undeniable. Shoppers vanished into thin air, leaving behind empty spaces in the crowded aisles. Mia noticed the disconcerting absence of familiar faces. Friends she had seen moments ago had vanished without a trace. Panic flickered in her chest, but she brushed it off as paranoia, focusing on navigating through the swarming masses. In the midst of the chaos, a soul-chilling sight caught her eye. A man stood at the far end of an empty corridor, his silhouette obscured by the weird lighting. He watched, unmoving, his gaze fixed on the shoppers. His presence sent a cold feeling down Mia's back, but when she blinked, he was gone. Fear gnawed at her insides, but when Mia tried to alert others, she was met with incredulous stares or dismissive shrugs. No one believed her, not even her boyfriend Alex, who brushed off her concerns as Black Friday hysteria. As the night dragged on, the mall grew quiet. The once bustling corridors now echoed with hollow emptiness. Stores that had teemed with shoppers were now deserted, their shelves abandoned, goods forgotten in the haste of vanishing customers. Mia's unease intensified, her steps faltering as she wandered through the desolate passages. She felt watched, followed by an unseen presence that slithered just beyond her line of sight. She called out for Alex, but her voice echoed into an abyss of silence. A chilling realization struck when she stumbled upon a small enclave tucked away in a remote corner of the mall. There, amidst discarded shopping bags and forgotten goods, lay a trail of personal belongings. Phones, purses, jackets, all abandoned as if their owners had evaporated into the night. Panic surged through Mia's veins as she retraced her steps, her heart racing in terror. The once familiar maze of the mall now felt like a labyrinth of dread. Shadows danced at the corners of her vision, whispering of an impending doom. Frantic, she rushed towards the exit, praying for an escape from this nightmare. But as she reached the door, a bone-chilling silence enveloped her. The world seemed to freeze as she turned around, and standing before her was the man she had seen earlier, his presence suffocating. Before Mia could react, a vortex of darkness consumed her. Her screams echoed through the empty halls as she vanished into the abyss, leaving behind only a haunting emptiness. The following day, the mall remained deserted, a ghostly monument to the inexplicable events of that Black Friday night. No trace of the missing shoppers was ever found. Rumors circulated, tales of a malevolent force lurking within the mall's walls, a sinister entity preying on the frenzied crowds. And as time passed, the mall was sealed off. Story 3. Amidst the annual frenzy of Black Friday, the bustling shopping center became a maze of fluorescent lights and echoing chatter. Among the throng of eager shoppers was Emma, a young woman eagerly browsing the sales, her heart racing with anticipation for the best deals of the year. As she weaved through the crowded aisles, Emma couldn't shake off an uneasy feeling prickling the back of her neck. The relentless bustle seemed suffocating, and a sense of foreboding settled within her. She brushed it off as pre-shopping jitters, attributing it to the frenetic atmosphere of the day. Yet as the hours passed, her unease deepened. Each time she glanced over her shoulder, a fleeting shadow seemed to dart behind racks of clothes or vanish into the crowd. She attributed it to tiredness, the disorienting buzz of the packed mall, dismissing her paranoia as mere figments of a fatigued mind. As she waited in the long queues at various stores, Emma caught glimpses of the same individuals nearby. An elderly man with piercing eyes, a young woman in a red coat, and a figure obscured by a hood. Their presence seemed unnervingly persistent, and their gazes felt intrusive, burning into her soul. Attempting to shake off her growing anxiety, Emma hurriedly continued her shopping spree. But as she navigated the labyrinthine paths of the shopping center, the feeling of being watched intensified. Whispers of voices that seemed too close yet too far echoed around her, instilling a profound sense of dread. Despite her efforts to rationalize, Emma's heartbeat quickened with each step, a relentless drumming in her chest. Her mind played tricks on her, conjuring shadows that slithered at the edges of her vision. She found herself glancing over her shoulder incessantly, catching fleeting glimpses of figures that seemed to vanish into thin air. Eventually, Emma sought solace in the restroom, hoping a moment of respite might quell her escalating fear. The restroom was empty, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows across the tiled floor. She splashed water on her face, attempting to regain composure, but a movement in the mirror caught her attention. A shadowy figure lurking behind the stalls. Panic surged through her veins and Emma bolted out of the restroom, her breath shallow and erratic. She felt a cold sweat trickling down her neck as she raced through the maze of corridors, seeking an exit from this suffocating nightmare. The world seemed to close in around her as she darted between aisles, desperate to escape the relentless feeling of being hunted. She tried to call her boyfriend, but the network was inexplicably jammed. No one responded to her frantic cries for help as the mall's usual buzz dissolved into an horrific silence. Determination to escape consumed her, but no matter which direction she turned, she found herself back in the same junction of corridors. The figures she had glimpsed earlier appeared and vanished like phantoms, their faces obscured, yet their eyes bore into her soul. With trembling hands and a racing heart, Emma stumbled upon a service door. Hope surged within her, but as she reached for the handle, the lights flickered, and a haunting silence descended. She turned, and there, looming in the dark corridor, stood the silhouettes of the figures, their eyes gleaming with an unsettling hunger. Frozen in terror, Emma felt a hand grasp her shoulder, a cold, clammy touch that made her blood freeze. She turned to face her assailant, only to be met with an abyss of darkness engulfing her. The last thing Emma felt was a suffocating embrace of shadows before she vanished into the abyss, leaving behind only a haunting emptiness. Story 4. The countdown to Black Friday had begun, and the anticipation hung thick in the air. Shoppers eagerly planned their strategies for snagging the best deals, and stores were adorned with enticing banners proclaiming massive discounts. Among the throngs of excited shoppers was Max, a young man with an insatiable hunger for bargains. He had mapped out his route through the shopping center, determined to make the most of the sales and emerge victorious. As the clock struck midnight, the doors of the mall flung open and a surge of eager consumers flooded in. Max plunged into the chaos, darting from store to store, his eyes scanning for the best deals. But amidst the hustle and bustle, a sense of unease crept over him. The crowded corridors felt suffocating, and the continuous hum of chatter seemed almost deafening. Max pushed the feeling aside, attributing it to the frenzied atmosphere of Black Friday. As the night progressed, the shopping center thrived with life. The aisles teemed with enthusiastic shoppers, their arms laden with discounted goods. But amidst the excitement, Max noticed something unsettling. A peculiar figure lurking among the crowd, its features obscured by a hood. The figure appeared intermittently, always at the edge of Max's vision. He tried to dismiss it as a trick of the bustling crowd, but a prickling sensation at the back of his neck refused to fade. He attempted to alert a security guard, but the figure vanished whenever Max sought assistance. Dismissed as a paranoid shopper in the midst of the Black Friday chaos, Max's concerns were met with indifferent shrugs and impatient glances. As the hours ticked by, the once exhilarating atmosphere grew oppressive. Max's movements became frantic, his eyes darting around, trying to catch another glimpse of the mysterious figure. The persistent feeling of being watched made him freeze up. In his haste to escape the perceived stalker, Max found himself lost in the labyrinthine corridors of the mall. The deafening noise of excited shoppers had given way to a sinister silence, broken only by the faint echo of his own footsteps. Desperation clawed at him as he frantically searched for an exit. The deserted passageways seemed to stretch endlessly, and the disorienting maze left him feeling trapped. He tried calling for help, but his voice echoed into a void of emptiness. A sense of impending doom loomed over Max as he stumbled upon a small corridor, its flickering lights casting unsettling shadows. There, standing at the far end, was the hooded figure. It remained motionless, its presence chilling Max to the bone. Heart-pounding, Max cautiously approached, his voice trembling as he demanded answers. But as he drew closer, the figure turned, revealing a haunting emptiness where its face should have been. A featureless void that sent a surge of terror through Max's veins. Before he could react, darkness enveloped him, swallowing him whole. The last thing he felt was an icy grip wrapping around him, pulling him into an abyss of nothingness. In the heart of Elmwood, a quiet suburban neighborhood nestled between towering elms, stood a house frozen in time. Its weathered facade loomed ominously over the street, shrouded in tales of a sinister past. The Jenkins house, as it was known, had remained uninhabited for decades, casting a dark presence over curious locals. Rumors swirled like autumn leaves about the Jenkins family, who had mysteriously vanished one stormy night, leaving behind a sinister legacy. Many claimed the house was cursed, plagued by restless spirits seeking vengeance for past wrongs. Others dismissed it as mere superstition, a cautionary tale told to keep children away from its decaying porch. However, when the Jacobs family moved into the neighborhood, they saw opportunity in the old Jenkins house. The couple, Alex and Sarah, thought it was the perfect fixer-upper. They believed in the charm of restoration, unaware of the ominous air that clung to the peeling walls and creaking floorboards. As they settled in, strange occurrences became a daily ordeal. Doors slammed shut inexplicably, and chilling whispers echoed in the dead of night. Sarah's antiques would inexplicably rearrange themselves, and Alex often heard faint, haunting melodies when no music played. Despite these scary events, the Jacobs remained undeterred. Sarah attributed it to the house's age, while Alex dismissed it as their imagination running wild in the new environment. One fateful evening, a storm descended upon Elmwood. The wind howled mournfully, and lightning danced across the sky like an angry god's wrath. The house trembled under the onslaught of nature's fury, and the shadows within seemed to writhe in response. As the night wore on, the house began to reveal its darkest secrets. Sarah, unable to sleep, wandered downstairs, drawn by an inexplicable force. The ancient floorboards groaned beneath her feet as she entered the living room, illuminated only by the occasional flash of lightning. There, in the faint glow of the storm, she saw them, the spectral figures of the Jenkins family. Their hollow eyes bore into her soul, their mouths agape as if trying to convey an unspeakable truth. Terrified, Sarah stumbled backward, her heart pounding against her ribcage. She called out for Alex, but her voice seemed to get lost in the ominous symphony of the storm. Shadows danced wildly on the walls, and a bone-chilling coldness seeped into the room. Suddenly, the apparitions vanished, leaving Sarah paralyzed with fear. And then she heard it, a mournful wail emanating from the depths of the house, a sound that echoed the agony of souls long tormented. In a panic, Sarah raced upstairs to find Alex, but the house seemed to twist and turn, its corridors morphing into a labyrinth of terror. She couldn't recognize her surroundings. The walls seemed to breathe, the air thick with malevolence. Finally, she reached their bedroom, but Alex was nowhere to be found. Instead, in the corner stood a spectral silhouette, a distorted figure clad in tattered remnants of old clothing, its features obscured by darkness. Sarah's heart raced as she recognized the figure from faded newspaper clippings as Mr. Jenkins himself. In that fleeting moment before the apparition lunged forward with a blood-curdling shriek, Sarah understood the dreadful truth. The house was a vessel for the vengeful spirits of the Jenkins family, forever trapped within its cursed walls, hungering for retribution against any who dared to call it home. The storm raged on, and Elmwood fell into silence, the legend of the cursed suburban home claiming yet another victim. Frozen in terror, Sarah stood face to face with the apparition of Mr. Jenkins. His hollow eyes bore into hers, sending a cold sweat down her back. Every nerve in her body screamed for escape, but the room seemed to warp and contort, trapping her within its nightmarish embrace. What are you?" Sarah managed to stammer, her voice quivering with fear. The figure, wreathed in darkness, let out a haunting wail that reverberated through the house, causing the walls to shudder and the floor to tremble beneath Sarah's feet. "You should not have come here," the spectral voice echoed, filled with agony and bitterness. "This house, cursed by our suffering, we will not allow anyone to claim it as their own." Sarah's mind raced, searching for an escape route, but the layout of the house seemed to shift and twist, defying logic. She felt a chilling presence closing in on her, the air thick with an otherworldly chill. Desperate, Sarah clutched onto a fragment of courage. "Please, we didn't know. We'll leave. Just let us go." But the figure remained unmoved, its ghostly visage contorted in anguish. "You can't leave. None do. The curse binds us here. As Sarah edged backward, her trembling fingers brushed against an old ornate mirror hanging on the wall. Its surface seemed to ripple like water, revealing fleeting glimpses of tortured souls within its depths. Driven by panic, she reached out to touch the mirror, hoping against hope for an escape. Instead, her fingers sank into its surface, sending ripples cascading across its dark reflection. A ghastly force seized hold of Sarah, pulling her into the mirror's abyss. She screamed, her voice drowned by the cacophony of tormented whispers emanating from within. In an instant, Sarah found herself suspended in a realm between worlds. Shadows danced around her, each one a trapped soul, their anguished faces etched with tales of horror and despair. She struggled against the spectral hands that grasped at her, pulling her further into the mirrored abyss. But the more she fought, the tighter their grip became, threatening to consume her very essence. Back in the physical realm, the storm outside reached its crescendo, its fury mirroring the chaos within the cursed house. Lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the darkened windows as if nature itself recoiled from the malevolent energy within. Neighbors peered out from behind curtains, sensing an inexplicable disturbance, but fear rooted them to their homes. The haunting cries and unearthly wails that emanated from the Jenkins house, warning them to stay away. Inside the house, the spectral presence tightened its hold on Sarah, dragging her deeper into the mirror's twisted reality. She felt herself slipping away, consumed by the darkness closing in around her. Then, in one final burst of terror, Sarah vanished into the depths of the mirror, her anguished cries fading into the night. The storm gradually subsided, leaving Elmwood shrouded in an unsettling calm. The Jenkins house stood in silence once more, its cursed legacy claiming yet another victim, condemning Sarah to an eternity trapped within its malevolent embrace. And so, the legend of the cursed suburban home persisted, a cautionary tale whispered among Elmwood's residents, warning them of the unfathomable horrors lurking within its haunted walls. Story 2. Nestled amidst fog-laden moors stood the Weatherby Manor, its silhouette looming against the haunting landscape. A place of grandeur turned desolate, the manor was a secluded haven for the peculiar and the unexplained. Stories whispered among the locals spoke of the Van der Haas family, who vanished mysteriously on a stormy night, leaving the manor to decay in solitude. The legend woven around Weatherby Manor was one of chilling intrigue. It was said that the spirits of the Van der Haas family still roamed its halls, seeking solace for their untimely demise. Tales were spun about unexplained echoes, phantom footsteps, and spectral apparitions that danced in the mist that perpetually enshrouded the manor. Despite the ominous reputation, a group of paranormal enthusiasts sought refuge within the decaying walls of Weatherby. Among them was Dr. Emily Harper, a skeptic famed for her rational explanations of supernatural phenomena. Determined to debunk the myths surrounding the manor, Emily led her team into the heart of the mist-shrouded estate. As the day succumbed to the embrace of twilight, the manor's atmosphere thickened, a sense of darkness settling upon the group. Doors creaked open of their own accord, casting elongated shadows across the ornate halls, and whispers, barely discernible, echoed through the emptiness. Undeterred, Emily and her team pressed on, setting up equipment to capture any semblance of spectral activity. However, as night descended, the manor awakened, and the line between reality and the supernatural began to blur. The once forgotten whispers grew louder, manifesting into desperate pleas for release. Shadows danced upon the walls, taking shape as ethereal figures that drifted through the mist-filled corridors. Each step reverberated with echoes of the past, carrying the sorrowful lament of the Van der Haas family. Emily, skeptical yet unnerved by the palpable tension, delved deeper into the manor's mysteries. Her team, on edge, witnessed apparitions materialize before their eyes, their translucent forms hauntingly vivid in the moonlit haze. As the clock struck midnight, a tempest encircled the manor, unleashing an unearthly symphony. Thunder roared in harmony with ghostly wails, and lightning illuminated the once opulent halls, revealing twisted portraits and shattered remnants of forgotten splendor. Emily's rational facade began to crumble in the face of the inexplicable. The spectral energies surged, as if demanding acknowledgement of the tragic fate that befell the Van der Haas family. In the heart of Weatherby Manor, Emily stumbled upon an ancient journal, its pages yellowed with age. The fading ink unveiled the family's plight, a tale of betrayal and unresolved anguish. Desperate for closure, the spirits yearned for the truth to be revealed. A chilling realization dawned upon Emily. The manor wasn't merely haunted by spirits, but shackled by the unresolved grievances of the Van der Haas family. Determined to grant them peace, Emily uncovered the hidden truth buried within the journal's pages. With trembling hands, she unveiled the long-buried secret, speaking the words that echoed across the ethereal realm. As the truth emerged from the depths of the manor's silence, the spirit's anguish transformed into serene whispers, dissipating into the misty night. With a solemn calm settling over the manor, Emily and her team retreated, leaving Weatherby behind, its secrets finally laid to rest. Yet, as they departed, a soft whisper lingered in the wind, a silent gratitude from the freed spirits, their legacy fading into the mists that veiled the secluded manor. Emily and her team, the weight of the manor's secrets heavy on their shoulders, retreated into the night, the image of the spectral figures etched vividly in their minds. As they left the estate, the fog seemed to part, allowing a sliver of moonlight to pierce through the dense mist, illuminating their path back to civilization. Days passed and Emily couldn't shake off the haunting memories of Weatherby Manor. Despite her skepticism being tested, she found herself drawn to the enigma that surrounded the estate. Determined to delve deeper into the history of the Van der Haas family, she embarked on a quest for answers. Her research led her to archives and forgotten manuscripts, uncovering the story behind the mysterious disappearance of the Van der Haas lineage. Emily's obsession with unveiling the truth intensified, driving her back to Weatherby, accompanied by a newfound resolve. Returning to the manor, she found the mist had retreated, revealing the aging grandeur of the estate beneath the clearing skies. Armed with the revelations from her research, Emily stepped back into the halls haunted by the tormented spirits of the past. As she ventured deeper, the manor seemed to respond to her presence. Shadows waltzed across the walls, whispers echoed through the corridors, guiding her towards the heart of the mystery. In a forgotten chamber, obscured by layers of dust and neglect, Emily uncovered a hidden alcove. Within it lay a cache of long-forgotten artifacts, a trove of heirlooms, each holding a piece of the Van der Haas family's tragic history. Among the relics, Emily stumbled upon an ornate locket, its surface etched with intricate designs. Opening it revealed a faded portrait, a depiction of a young girl, the last remaining heir of the Van der Haas lineage. The realization struck Emily like lightning. She had unraveled the tragic tale that had haunted the manor for decades. The family's disappearance was a result of betrayal and deceit, orchestrated by those they once trusted. Driven by a sense of duty, Emily sought to put the spirits to rest. Armed with the truth, she retraced her steps through the manor, the artifacts in hand, intending to offer closure to the lingering souls. As she reached the heart of Weatherby Manor, a profound silence enveloped the estate. The air, once filled with whispers, hung heavy with anticipation. Emily held the artifacts aloft, sharing the lost family's tale, every word a tribute to their untold suffering. In a mesmerizing spectacle, the spirits materialized before her, their ethereal forms radiant yet sorrowful. They listened intently as Emily recounted their tragic legacy, their eyes reflecting gratitude for finally having their story heard. With a gentle nod, the spectral figures dissipated into a radiant mist, vanishing into the ether. A serene calm settled over the manor, the oppressive atmosphere replaced by a sense of closure. Emily stood amidst the fading echoes of the spirits, a bittersweet satisfaction filling her heart. As she exited the manor once more, she felt a lightness in the air. The oppressive shroud lifted, leaving behind a legacy of peace and redemption. Weatherby Manor, no longer a haven for restless spirits, stood as a testament to the power of truth and empathy, its secrets finally laid to rest within the mists that veiled its history. And Emily, forever changed by the experience, carried the echoes of the Van der Haas family's tragic tale as a testament to their memory. Story 3. Nestled deep within the sprawling countryside stood an imposing structure known as the Sanctuary of Echoing Whispers. Once a refuge for troubled souls seeking solace, the sanctuary had now become a haunting edifice, steeped in the lingering agony of its past inhabitants. The sanctuary's history was fraught with tragedy. a tapestry woven from the tales of lost souls and unresolved fates. Legends whispered of a myriad of tormented spirits, their anguished echoes reverberating through the halls, begging for absolution. Dr. Sophia Carter, a renowned psychologist with an unwavering belief in rationality, was intrigued by the legends surrounding the sanctuary. Drawn to uncover the truth behind the haunting whispers, she embarked on a journey to delve into the depths of the enigmatic structure. Accompanied by a team of scholars and researchers, Sophia ventured into the heart of the sanctuary, its towering walls bearing silent witness to the anguish trapped within. As they traversed the echoing corridors, each step seemed to awaken the spirits, their fragmented cries echoing through the stone walls. The atmosphere grew dense with sorrow, and shadows danced eerily amidst the flickering candlelight. Sophia's skepticism wavered as inexplicable phenomena manifested before her eyes. Objects moved of their own accord, and whispers echoed tales of past sorrows. Despite the unsettling occurrences, Sophia pressed on, driven by a determination to unearth the truth hidden within the sanctuary's haunted embrace. Her team, both intrigued and unnerved, observed the unfolding events with a mix of fascination and trepidation. In a chamber veiled in perpetual darkness, Sophia stumbled upon an ancient tome, its weathered pages bound in faded leather. The cryptic writings chronicled the tragic tales of the sanctuary's residents, each soul scarred by unfulfilled desires and unresolved regrets. As Sophia deciphered the cryptic accounts, a sense of empathy welled within her. She realized that the tormented spirits longed for acknowledgement and closure, their echoes a plea for redemption. In a resolute gesture, Sophia gathered her team and began a solemn ritual, an offering of understanding and compassion to the restless souls that haunted the sanctuary's halls. With each word spoken, she sought to unravel the tangled web of anguish that bound the spirits to their unresolved pasts. In a mesmerizing spectacle, the chamber filled with a haunting symphony of whispers, a cacophony of long-suppressed emotions surfacing from the depths of the sanctuary's history. Shadows coalesced into spectral forms, their faces etched with a mixture of despair and hope. Sophia, guided by an unspoken connection, spoke words of empathy and absolution. She shared their sorrows, acknowledging their pain, and offering a semblance of closure to the tormented souls that lingered within the sanctuary's confines. As the ritual reached its crescendo, a profound silence descended upon the chamber. The spectral figures, their ethereal forms radiant yet serene, acknowledged Sophia's compassion. With a tranquil nod, they dissipated into shimmering wisps of light, vanishing into the ethereal realms. A serene calm settled over the sanctuary, the oppressive atmosphere replaced by a sense of peace. Sophia and her team stood amidst the fading echoes of the spirits, a newfound reverence for the power of empathy and understanding filling their hearts. As they departed the sanctuary, Sophia carried with her the echoes of the tormented souls, their tales now etched into the annals of history as a testament to the sanctuary's transformation, from a haven of despair to a sanctuary of redemption. And in the silence that followed, the whispers of gratitude lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the healing power of empathy and closure. Having facilitated the spectral release within the sanctuary of echoing whispers, Dr. Sophia Carter and her team emerged from the ancient halls, carrying with them an indelible sense of accomplishment and awe. The sanctuary, once steeped in spectral anguish, now exuded an aura of tranquility, as if the very essence of the place had been cleansed of its haunting afflictions. As they made their way back to the world beyond the sanctuary's walls, Sophia couldn't shake off the weight of the experience. The echoes of the tormented spirits lingered in her mind, their stories interwoven with her own, leaving an undeniable mark on her soul. Despite the passing days, Sophia found herself drawn back to the sanctuary in her thoughts, haunted by the unresolved stories she had encountered within its enigmatic confines. Her nights were restless, filled with fragmented whispers that echoed the agonies of the spirits she had encountered. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a profound sense of responsibility, Sophia embarked on an arduous journey of research and introspection. She pored over ancient texts and delved into the annals of history, determined to unravel the untold tales of those who sought refuge within the sanctuary's walls. Her quest for understanding led her to disparate sources, forgotten manuscripts, cryptic artifacts, and the fading memories of the elderly townsfolk. With each revelation, Sophia uncovered the interconnected lives of the souls that had once sought solace within the sanctuary. The deeper she delved, the more she came to understand the intricacies of their sorrows, the heartaches, betrayals, and unfulfilled aspirations that had trapped these spirits within the sanctuary's spectral embrace. Driven by empathy and a sense of duty, Sophia sought to memorialize the stories of the sanctuary's former inhabitants. She meticulously documented their lives, weaving together the fragmented echoes of the past into a tapestry of empathy and remembrance. Months passed, and Sophia, consumed by her endeavor, found herself drawn back to the sanctuary. Armed with the culmination of her research, she returned, accompanied by historians, preservationists, and artists, all dedicated to honoring the legacy of the sanctuary and its spectral residents. Together they breathed new life into the old halls, transforming them into a living memorial, a sanctuary museum that recounted the tales of the past inhabitants. The walls bore witness to the lives once lived, adorned with artifacts and exhibits that chronicled the experiences of the tormented souls. As the museum took shape, visitors from far and wide were drawn to the sanctuary. They walked its hallowed halls, immersed themselves in the narratives of those who had found solace within its walls, and learned the importance of empathy and understanding in the face of profound suffering. Sophia, standing amidst the sanctuary-turned-museum, felt a sense of closure. The whispers that had once haunted her nights now resonated as poignant echoes of remembrance and appreciation. The spirits, no longer trapped in a realm of anguish, seemed to hover in the periphery, their presence a silent testament to the transformative power of empathy. The sanctuary of echoing whispers had transitioned from a forgotten haven of despair to a revered sanctuary of remembrance, a place where the echoes of past sorrows were heard, understood, and immortalized for generations to come. And as Sophia gazed upon the tranquility that now enveloped the sanctuary, she felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that the echoes of the tormented souls had found a place of honor and repose. Story 4. Shrouded in mist and veiled by the passage of time, the forgotten asylum stood as a haunting relic of the past. Its crumbling walls whispered forgotten tales of the lost souls who once sought refuge within its halls. Legend spoke of the asylum's enigmatic history, a haven turned prison for the afflicted, a sanctuary now consumed by spectral echoes. Dr. Thomas Harding, a psychologist known for his empathy and unwavering dedication, harbored a deep fascination with the stories surrounding the forgotten asylum. Driven by a desire to understand the obscured narratives, he embarked on a journey to unearth the untold truths buried within its walls. Accompanied by a team of researchers and historians, Thomas ventured into the depths of the dilapidated asylum, its decaying corridors resonating with the lingering whispers of the past. Shadows danced in the dimly lit hallways, and the air hung heavy with a palpable sense of despair. Despite the ominous ambience, Thomas pressed forward, determined to uncover the mysteries that had cloaked the asylum in a veil of haunting enigma. His team, a mix of trepidation and curiosity, followed as they navigated through the dark chambers. In an abandoned library covered in layers of dust and neglect, Thomas stumbled upon a collection of journals, tattered remnants of the asylum's forgotten history. The faded pages chronicled the lives of the afflicted, their struggles, fears, and the profound injustices they endured within the asylum's confines. As Thomas pored over the journals, a sense of empathy surged within him. He realized that the tormented souls yearned to have their stories acknowledged and validated, to be liberated from the shadows that had imprisoned their existence. Driven by compassion and a quest for redemption, Thomas gathered his team and embarked on a solemn mission, a ritual of understanding and acknowledgement aimed at providing solace to the lingering spirits trapped within the asylum's spectral embrace. In a chamber steeped in darkness, Thomas initiated the ritual, invoking words of empathy and remembrance for the forgotten souls. As he spoke, the atmosphere trembled with a profound energy, as if the very essence of the asylum responded to the collective plea for redemption. Spectral forms materialized, their ethereal presence a poignant reflection of the anguish and despair they had endured. Their eyes, brimming with emotions long suppressed, met Thomas's gaze, yearning for absolution. In a reverent gesture, Thomas acknowledged their suffering, speaking words of empathy and understanding. He shared their pain, acknowledging the injustices they had faced, and offered a semblance of closure to the tormented souls that lingered within the asylum's desolate chambers. As the ritual reached its apex, a serene calm descended upon the chamber. The spectral figures, their ethereal forms radiant yet solemn, acknowledged Thomas's compassion. With a tranquil nod, they dissipated into shimmering wisps of light, ascending towards an ethereal realm. A profound silence enveloped the forgotten asylum, the oppressive atmosphere replaced by a sense of peace. Thomas and his team stood amidst the fading echoes of the spirits, a newfound reverence for the power of empathy and understanding filling their hearts. As they departed the asylum, Thomas carried with him the echoes of the tormented souls, their stories etched into his soul as a testament to their memory. And in the silence that followed, the whispers of gratitude lingered in the air. After the solemn ritual at the forgotten asylum, Dr. Thomas Harding found himself haunted by the memories of the spectral encounter. The echoes of the tormented souls lingered in his thoughts, their tales intertwining with his own, leaving an indelible mark on his soul. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a profound sense of responsibility, Thomas delved deeper into the forgotten history of the asylum. Nights turned into days as he pored over ancient archives, meticulously piecing together the fragmented narratives of the afflicted souls. His relentless pursuit of understanding led him to forgotten manuscripts, cryptic artifacts, and fading recollections from the few surviving town elders. With each revelation, Thomas unraveled the intertwined lives of those who had sought refuge within the asylum's walls. The deeper he delved, the more he comprehended the intricacies of their sorrows, the traumas, injustices, and the unbearable weight of societal ignorance that had confined these spirits within the asylum's spectral embrace. Empathy and a sense of duty guided Thomas's quest to provide closure to the tormented souls. He meticulously documented their lives, crafting a narrative that honored their existence, a testament to the forgotten and misunderstood. Months passed, and Thomas, consumed by his endeavor, returned to the asylum. Accompanied by historians, preservationists, and artists, he aimed to transform the dilapidated asylum into a memorial, a sanctuary of remembrance for the afflicted souls. Together, they breathed new life into the abandoned halls, transforming them into a living museum, a repository of the forgotten stories, adorned with artifacts and exhibits that chronicled the lives of the tormented souls. As the museum took shape, visitors from far and wide were drawn to the asylum. They walked its hallowed halls, immersed themselves in the narratives of those who had found refuge within its walls, and learned the importance of empathy and understanding in the face of profound suffering. Thomas, standing amidst the transformed asylum-turned-museum, felt a sense of closure. The whispers that had once haunted him now resonated as poignant echoes of remembrance and appreciation. The spirits, no longer trapped in a realm of anguish, seemed to hover in the periphery, their presence a silent testament to the transformative power of empathy. The forgotten asylum had transitioned from a haunting symbol of despair to a revered sanctuary of remembrance, a place where the echoes of forgotten souls were heard, understood, and immortalized for generations to come. As Thomas gazed upon the tranquil asylum, now a haven of redemption and empathy, he felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that the echoes of the tormented souls had found a place of honor and solace. And in the serenity that followed, the whispers of gratitude lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the healing power of empathy and remembrance. Hello everyone. Just wanted to say how thrilled and deeply grateful to each of you for being a part of our journey. Your unwavering support and enthusiasm have propelled our community to nearly 400 subscribers, and I couldn't be more thankful. Thank you for believing in this channel, sharing your thoughts, and being the incredible individuals you are. On that note, let's get into the stories. Story 1. In a small, picturesque town nestled amid verdant landscapes, a peculiar urban legend shrouded the tale of Dr. Jacob Fairchild. Decades ago, Dr. Fairchild, a respected physician and scientist, was renowned for his radical theories in regenerative medicine and life extension. His controversial research delved into the realms of cellular regeneration and biological resurrection. As the town's folkloric tales would have it, Dr. Fairchild's ambitious pursuits led to secretive experiments in his secluded mansion on the outskirts of town. Stories whispered of peculiar lights emanating from the mansion at odd hours, unsettling rumors of disquieting screams echoing through the night, and sightings of shadowy figures roaming the property. Emily Carter, an inquisitive journalist with a penchant for uncovering the truth behind local legends, found herself entangled in the enigma of Dr. Fairchild's legacy. Her journalistic instincts piqued by the macabre tales, she delved into the archives, unearthing faded newspaper clippings and scattered testimonials that chronicled Dr. Fairchild's mysterious disappearance. The more Emily investigated, the deeper she delved into the physician's unorthodox theories. His belief in the possibility of regenerating life beyond its natural course became the cornerstone of his research, an ambition that led to his eventual fall from grace and disappearance under suspicious circumstances. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Emily sought to demystify the legend and uncover the truth behind Dr. Fairchild's experiments. She traversed the town, piecing together fragmented accounts from elderly residents and stumbling upon hidden journals and discarded lab notes that hinted at the scientist's radical pursuits. Armed with compelling evidence and a thirst for the truth, Emily journeyed to the outskirts of town, where Dr. Fairchild's secluded mansion stood, an imposing structure shrouded in overgrown foliage and mystic silence. As she approached the decaying mansion, a disquiet sense of unease settled upon her. The dilapidated facade exuded an air of desolation, its shattered windows and weathered doors a testament to the passage of time. The overgrown garden rustled with whispers of forgotten secrets, and a sense of being watched by unseen eyes lingered in the air. Undeterred by the ominous ambience, Emily ventured into the decaying mansion, guided by flickering rays of sunlight that filtered through the broken windows. The interior lay in disarray, a dilapidated laboratory adorned with arcane contraptions, vials of murky liquids, and discarded scientific apparatuses. As Emily explored the forsaken laboratory, she unearthed traces of Dr. Fairchild's ambitious experiments, esoteric journals and scattered notations detailing his relentless pursuit of defying mortality and resurrecting life from the brink of death. Her investigation led her deeper into the mansion's depths, where she stumbled upon a concealed chamber, veiled in shadows and obscured by a sense of unease. The chamber, adorned with strange symbols and archaic diagrams, harbored a scary energy. In the heart of the chamber lay an ominous contraption, a colossal apparatus surrounded by intricately designed machinery and a mystic hum that reverberated through the air. At its center, an ominous pedestal housed an ancient-looking book, adorned with cryptic writings and faded illustrations. Drawn to the mysterious tome, Emily approached cautiously, her fingers tracing the weathered pages that chronicled Dr. Fairchild's radical experiments in resurrection and cellular reanimation. The pages hinted at a ghastly process, a method to harness the essence of life and rekindle it within the confines of death. As she perused the ominous pages, a sudden surge of dark energy engulfed the chamber. Shadows coalesced, twisting and contorting into sinister shapes that danced across the walls, a haunting manifestation that seemed to echo the forbidden experiments once conducted within the mansion's walls. In a heart-stopping revelation, Emily sensed a presence, a spectral echo that emanated from the unearthly apparatus. The ghostly remnants of Dr. Fairchild's relentless pursuit lingered within the chamber, an ethereal essence bound by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and the dark secrets of resurrection. In a horrifying crescendo, the spectral presence surged forth, a maelstrom of unearthly energies that enveloped Emily in a suffocating grip. She recoiled in terror, realizing the sinister truth. The mansion harbored remnants of an unholy experiment gone awry, an eerie echo of Dr. Fairchild's ambitious but macabre pursuits. With a blood-curdling scream, Emily was ensnared within the spectral vortex, a fate sealed by the unnerving echoes of resurrection, condemning her to an eternal dance amidst the shadows of Dr. Fairchild's relentless experimentations. As the night settled over the desolate mansion, a stillness pervaded the atmosphere. Emily Carter's disappearance became yet another unsolved mystery, a harrowing testament to the dangerous pursuit of forbidden knowledge and the perils that lurked within the unexplored realms of the unknown. Story 2. In the heart of an old town, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, lay a weathered cemetery known as Oakwood Rest. Among the rows of faded tombstones stood one solitary monument that captured the town's dark lore. A tombstone marked by the name Edgar Hawthorne. Edgar's grave bore the weight of a dark legend that echoed through generations. Tales spoke of Edgar as a recluse, an eccentric man of mystery who lived on the outskirts of town. His enigmatic life ended in tragedy, leading to a local belief that his restless spirit haunted the cemetery. The tombstone stood weather-beaten, its engravings faded by time. Locals recounted spine-chilling anecdotes of whispers heard around the grave, flickering lights at twilight, and an inexplicable sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Alicia Richards, a young investigative journalist with an intrigue for local legends, stumbled upon the curious lore of Edgar Hawthorne's tombstone. Driven by her passion for uncovering truth amidst folklore, she set out to unravel the mysteries shrouding Oakwood Rest. Researching archives and interviewing elderly residents, Alicia pieced together the fragments of Edgar's life, a once prominent figure in the town, known for his reclusive nature and fascination with the occult. With each revelation, the lines between fact and legend blurred. Some accounts painted Edgar as an enigmatic but misunderstood figure, while others perpetuated the belief in his haunting presence. Alicia's pursuit led her to the cemetery, determined to uncover the truth behind the mysterious tombstone. As she ventured through Oakwood Rest, a haunting ambience enveloped her. The rustling leaves, the creaking of old trees, and the distant howls of nocturnal creatures set an uncanny backdrop for her investigation. The tombstone loomed ahead, weathered but undeniably imposing. Alicia meticulously examined the inscription, tracing the faded letters etched into the stone. A gust of wind whispered through the trees, causing the hair on her neck to stand on end. The tombstone remained silent, seemingly void of any spectral presence. As night fell and shadows stretched across the cemetery, Alicia felt an unsettling chill. Her flashlight flickered, casting elongated shadows that danced among the gravestones. A sensation of being watched lingered, and a faint voice seemed to whisper on the wind, sending shivers down her spine. Intent on unraveling the truth, Alicia lingered by the tombstone, her determination clouded by a sense of worry. Suddenly, a strange sensation gripped her, and the ground beneath her feet quivered. A low, guttural sound emanated from the earth, a sinister vibration that resonated through the cemetery. Alicia stumbled back, her heart racing, as the ground near Edgar Hawthorne's tombstone began to crack and split open. In a horrifying turn of events, skeletal fingers emerged from the earth, clawing their way into the moonlit night. Alicia's shock turned to terror as the ground continued to rupture, revealing a ghastly sight. A decrepit skeletal figure adorned in tattered remnants of clothing, rising from the grave. Horror seized Alicia as she witnessed the unearthly spectacle. The figure, resembling the remains of a long-deceased man, staggered from the grave, its empty eye sockets fixated on her. A silent scream lodged in Alicia's throat as the revenant stumbled toward her with an unnatural, jerking gait. In a heart-stopping moment, the ghastly specter extended its bony hand toward Alicia, as if beckoning her to join him in the realm of the dead. Paralyzed by fear, she could only watch in terror as the revenant drew closer, the air thick with a putrid stench of decay. The horrifying encounter sent Alicia reeling backward, scrambling away in sheer panic. With adrenaline-fueled desperation, she managed to break free from the ghastly apparition's reach, fleeing the cemetery in terror. As she stumbled out into the safety of the moonlit streets, the echoes of her racing heart drowned out the haunting cries that lingered behind her. The encounter with the revenant at Edgar Hawthorne's tombstone became a haunting tale etched into Alicia's memory, a spine-chilling testament to the depths of Oakwood Rest's enduring legend. Story 3. Nestled within the heart of Greenridge Town, cloaked in a serenity that contrasted the bustling streets, lay the silent grounds, a cemetery steeped in history and adorned with weathered gravestones that bore witness to the passage of time. Legends whispered of a silent guardian, a figure veiled in mystery, watching over the hallowed grounds. For decades, tales had circulated among the townsfolk, weaving the enigmatic narrative of the guardian. Stories depicted the figure as a silent sentinel, a solitary presence that prowled the cemetery's pathways under the moon's pale light, a protector of the sanctity of the resting souls. Amongst the local populace, Emma Hayes, a young librarian with an insatiable curiosity for the town's folklore, found herself drawn to the mysterious tales surrounding the silent grounds and its elusive guardian. Her fascination led her to delve into the annals of history, uncovering fragments of forgotten lore that hinted at the guardian's existence. As Emma delved deeper into the town's archives, she unearthed tales dating back centuries, accounts of an enigmatic figure cloaked in darkness, whose silent vigilance over the silent grounds was a testament to an unspoken oath to protect the graves from desecration. Driven by a thirst for unraveling the truth behind the legends, Emma embarked on nocturnal expeditions to the silent grounds, each visit tinged with a curious blend of trepidation and fascination. She wandered through the labyrinthine paths, tracing her fingers over the time-worn epitaphs that adorned the crumbling gravestones. Amidst the moonlit silence, Emma felt a peculiar sensation, a subtle shift in the atmosphere that hinted at an unseen presence. Shadows flickered at the corner of her vision, teasing her senses with an ephemeral dance that vanished upon closer scrutiny. Undeterred by the elusive nature of her pursuit, Emma ventured deeper into the cemetery's depths, a peculiar sense of being watched tugging at her consciousness. Her steps echoed amidst the sepulchral silence, each footfall seemingly resonating with the untold stories buried within the silent grounds. On one fateful night, as Emma wandered the cemetery's pathways, a solemn stillness settled over the grounds. The air grew heavy with a palpable tension, and an inexplicable sent shivers down her spine. A whisper of movement caught her attention, a fleeting shadow that seemed to glide among the gravestones. Emma's heart quickened its pace as she followed the elusive silhouette, an amalgamation of fear and intrigue propelling her forward. Through the mist-draped alleys, she glimpsed the outline of a figure, a solitary sentinel shrouded in darkness, standing vigil over the resting souls. With bated breath, Emma approached the figure, an unspoken curiosity overriding her trepidation. The guardian stood motionless, a silent silhouette amid the moon's ethereal glow, exuding an air of somber authority that sent a coldness down Emma's spine. As she drew closer, the guardian's features remained veiled in shadow, an enigmatic presence emanating an aura of ancient wisdom and unwavering resolve. The moonlight cast an odd luminescence upon the figure, lending an otherworldly quality to the scene. In a daring move, Emma attempted to address the guardian, her voice quivering as she sought answers to the age-old mysteries that shrouded the silent grounds. Yet her words dissipated into the night, met with a profound silence from the stoic figure. A sudden gust of wind rustled through the trees, carrying with it an ominous whisper that seemed to echo from the guardian itself. Emma's heart raced as a sense of impending doom clouded her thoughts, a realization that she had trespassed upon an ancient sanctum guarded by an entity beyond mortal comprehension. In a haunting climax, the guardian's shadowy form began to shimmer, a spectral metamorphosis that defied explanation. Emma's breath caught in her throat as the figure dissolved into wisps of darkness, an unsettling manifestation that sent a surge of terror coursing through her veins. With an abnormal howl that pierced the night, the guardian's ephemeral form dissipated into the ether, leaving Emma trembling in its wake, a witness to the fleeting apparition that guarded the silent grounds. The encounter left an indelible mark, etching the enigmatic guardian's presence into the annals of the silent grounds' enduring legend. Story 4. In the outskirts of Ashford Valley, nestled amidst a dense thicket of ancient oaks and veiled by the passage of time, lay an unassuming clearing, a place long forgotten by the town's inhabitants. Within this tranquil glade stood a forgotten burial ground, its gravestones weathered by years of neglect, bearing silent witness to an untold history. The tales woven around this burial ground were shrouded in mystery, whispers of a forgotten chapter in Ashford Valley's past, tales of an abandoned cemetery where those from eras long past found their eternal repose. Overgrown with ivy and embraced by the encroaching wilderness, the burial ground remained an enigmatic relic, a testament to the forgotten souls resting beneath its soil. Among the curious souls drawn to the town's lore was Adam Turner, an earnest historian whose fascination with untold stories led him to unravel the secrets veiled by the veil of time. Adam's quest for the forgotten burial ground's history led him to delve deep into dusty archives and tattered manuscripts, seeking fragments of a past obscured by neglect. As Adam unearthed obscure accounts and forgotten narratives, he pieced together the burial ground's faded legacy, an integral part of Ashford Valley's history erased by the passage of time. The burial ground, once a revered site for the town's early settlers, had fallen into obscurity, forgotten amidst the progress of modernity. Driven by an insatiable desire to resurrect the burial ground's forgotten history, Adam ventured into the Forgotten Clearing, a quiet oasis hidden away from the bustling town. The burial ground lay in disrepair, its gravestones marred by moss and neglect, a testament to the passage of time that had consigned the site to oblivion. Adam, armed with reverence and a sense of duty, navigated the overgrown paths, tracing his fingers over the weathered gravestones that bore the faded names of those who had long departed. Each inscription held a tale, an echo of a life once lived, now relegated to the annals of forgotten memory. As the afternoon sun waned, casting elongated shadows across the burial ground, Adam felt an inexplicable sense of unease, and bizarre sensation that stirred the air, as if the voices of the departed echoed through the silent glade. Yet his fascination with uncovering the burial ground's hidden history urged him to press forward. Amidst the fading light, Adam stumbled upon a dilapidated crypt, its stone facade adorned with intricate carvings that spoke of an era long past. An air of melancholy hung around the crypt, and a haunting silence pervaded its surroundings, an unsettling aura that hinted at buried secrets waiting to resurface. Driven by an unyielding curiosity, Adam approached the crypt, his footsteps echoing in the stillness of the clearing. A sense of darkness settled upon him, the weight of forgotten histories tugging at his conscience, urging him to unearth the buried truths obscured by time's veil. With trembling hands, Adam brushed aside the encroaching vines that obscured the crypt's entrance, revealing the yawning darkness within. The crypt's interior exuded an oppressive atmosphere, an unnerving silence that resonated with the weight of untold stories entombed within its walls. As Adam stepped into the crypt's depths, an inexplicable cold enveloped him, a sensation that clawed at his senses, hinting at an unseen presence that lingered in the shadows. A faint whisper echoed through the crypt, a haunting murmuring that seemed to reverberate from the forgotten souls resting within. Suddenly, a sepulchral groan emanated from the crypt's depths, a guttural sound that shattered the silence, sending shivers down Adam's spine. The air thickened with an unsettling energy, and a sense of imminent dread coiled around him, binding him within the crypt's suffocating embrace. In a heart-stopping moment, the shadows coalesced into spectral forms, ethereal remnants of the forgotten souls rising from their eternal slumber. Their ghostly apparitions, clad in tattered remnants of an era long past, drifted towards Adam with spectral grace, their hollow eyes fixated upon him. With a blood-curdling realization, Adam found himself ensnared in a spectral congregation, an unearthly assembly of souls forgotten by time. The apparitions encircled him with a haunting reverence, their ghastly visages evoking an unspoken tragedy, an eternity spent in the purgatory of obscurity. In a mystic climax, the apparitions reached out to Adam, their spectral hands grasping for his mortal essence, a harrowing attempt to draw him into their spectral realm, condemning him to an eternity of forgotten torment. With a primal scream, Adam struggled against the spectral grasp, fighting to break free from the unearthly embrace that threatened to claim him. His frantic attempts to escape were met with an overpowering force, an inevitable descent into the abyss of forgotten souls. As the night descended upon the burial ground, a haunting silence settled over the crypt, a testament to the enigmatic allure of forgotten histories that lingered within its depths. Adam Turner's disappearance became yet another unsolved mystery, a true testament to the perils that awaited those who dared to unearth the buried echoes of the past. Story 5. In the serene outskirts of Cedarwood Village lay an old abandoned cemetery known for its unmarked graves, a peculiar testament to forgotten souls who found their eternal rest amidst the veil of obscurity. The cemetery, with its weathered tombstones and unmarked plots, was a place shrouded in silent mysteries. Tales whispered among the villagers spoke of an ancient curse that plagued the unmarked graves, a solemn reminder of an era obscured by the sands of time. The absence of identifiable markings rendered the graves a haunting enigma, a silent chorus of forgotten stories etched into the soil, awaiting discovery. Amongst the curious inhabitants drawn to the village's enigmatic history was Sarah Collins, a young historian with a fervent passion for unraveling forgotten narratives. Sarah's fascination led her to delve into the village archives, seeking fragments of a past veiled by neglect and abandoned recollections. As Sarah sifted through dusty records and faded documents, she pieced together fragments of the cemetery's obscured history, a once revered burial ground overshadowed by an ancient curse. The unmarked graves bore testimony to an unresolved tragedy, a legacy of silent echoes waiting to be unearthed. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Sarah ventured into the abandoned cemetery, a hallowed ground nestled within the embrace of time-worn trees. The atmosphere was heavy with a sepulchral silence, and an inexplicable feeling lingered in the air, as if the whispers of the forgotten souls echoed through the dilapidated gravestones. Amidst the overgrown foliage and decrepit tombstones, Sarah traced her fingers over the weathered engravings, hoping to discern clues that might unveil the stories hidden within the unmarked graves. Each unmarked plot carried an air of solemn mystery, a silent testament to lives obscured by the passage of time. As the daylight waned and shadows danced across the cemetery, Sarah felt a palpable unease, a spectral presence that seemed to stir amidst the forgotten graves. The absence of identifiable markers seemed to intensify the freakish ambience, hinting at stories yearning to be remembered. Undeterred by the foreboding atmosphere, Sarah continued her exploration, guided by an unwavering determination to unravel the secrets veiled by the unmarked graves. Each step forward felt like a journey deeper into the unknown, an enigmatic labyrinth of obscured histories waiting to resurface. Amidst the fading light, Sarah stumbled upon a peculiar section of the cemetery, a cluster of unmarked graves shrouded by encroaching foliage, seemingly untouched by time's passage. An air of disquiet settled upon the area, as if the silent echoes of the forgotten souls beckoned her to uncover their buried truths. With a sense of trepidation, Sarah knelt beside one of the unmarked graves, feeling an inexplicable pull, a haunting resonance that seemed to emanate from the soil itself. Her fingers traced the faint impressions left by time, a somber reminder of a life unmarked by legacy or remembrance. Suddenly, a sinister realization gripped Sarah, a warning sense of impending doom that coiled around her senses. The atmosphere shifted, the air thickening with an unseen presence, and an ominous feeling of being watched by unseen eyes enveloped her. In the moment, the ground beneath Sarah began to tremble, a sinister force stirring from the forgotten depths. A hollow whisper echoed through the cemetery, carrying an ancient lament, a spectral chorus of voices yearning to break the shackles of silent obscurity. With a sudden jolt, the unmarked graves seemed to quake, a haunting manifestation of the curse that bound the forgotten souls to their obscured resting places. The ground churned and heaved, and unearthly cries pierced the air as if the silenced voices of the buried emerged in a lamentation. In a horrifying climax, the spectral unrest surged forth, a cacophony of ethereal apparitions rising from the unmarked graves. The ghostly figures, draped in tattered shrouds of time, converged upon Sarah with an ethereal presence, their mournful visages a testament to the unresolved tragedy that tethered them to their forgotten resting grounds. Sarah's heart raced with terror as she found herself ensnared within the spectral congregation, a dark encounter with the tormented echoes of the unmarked graves. Their spectral hands reached out, grasping for her essence, an attempt to draw her into the perpetual limbo that plagued their silent existence. In a desperate bid to escape the spectral grasp, Sarah fought against the unearthly apparitions, struggling against the ethereal force that sought to claim her. Her terrified cries echoed through the cemetery, lost amidst the haunting lamentation that reverberated through the night. As the moon cast its pale glow upon the cemetery, a silence settled once more, a haunting reminder of the curse that lingered within the unmarked graves. Sarah Collins's disappearance became yet another enigmatic chapter in Cedarwood Village's history, a testament to the perils that awaited those who dared to disturb the silent echoes of forgotten souls. Story 6. In the quaint town of Ravenwood, nestled amidst rolling hills and shadowed by ancient trees, lay the Whispering Oak Cemetery, a serene resting place for the departed souls of generations past. The caretaker of this silent sanctuary was an enigmatic figure known only as Old Man Harrington, the graveyard keeper whose mysterious presence stirred whispers among the townsfolk. Rumors swirled around Old Man Harrington, tales woven from threads of suspicion and speculation. Some regarded him as a solitary soul, committed to tending the graves with unwavering diligence, while others whispered darker stories, an inscrutable past veiled by shadows, hinting at a hidden secret buried within the cemetery's grounds. Among the curious townsfolk was Rebecca Thornton, an inquisitive journalist with an insatiable appetite for uncovering hidden truths. Rebecca's journalistic instincts led her to the intriguing lore surrounding Old Man Harrington, the enigmatic graveyard keeper whose enshrouded past beckoned her to unravel its mysteries. Through tireless research and tireless inquiries, Rebecca pieced together fragments of Ravenwood's folklore, a patchwork of tales hinting at Old Man Harrington's elusive past. The townsfolk's whispered suspicions, coupled with cryptic accounts from decades past, wove a tapestry of uncertainty around the keeper of Whispering Oak Cemetery. Driven by an unyielding curiosity, Rebecca ventured to the cemetery, her footsteps echoing amidst the gravestones that bore silent witness to the passage of time. The serenity of the graveyard belied an underlying sense of unease, a palpable tension that hung in the air, hinting at stories waiting to be unearthed. With each visit, Rebecca observed Old Man Harrington's meticulous care for the graves, a steadfast devotion that seemed intertwined with a veiled melancholy. She sought to penetrate the enigmatic facade of the graveyard keeper, yearning to uncover the truth concealed beneath his stoic countenance. As twilight cast elongated shadows across the cemetery, Rebecca's inquiries led her to approach Old Man Harrington, a figure shrouded in the fading light, his weathered features etched with the weight of unspoken secrets. She endeavored to engage him in conversation, hoping to glean insights into the hidden depths of the graveyard keeper's past. Yet Old Man Harrington remained elusive, a man of few words whose silence spoke volumes. His guarded demeanor hinted at a past veiled in shadows, warding off Rebecca's attempts to unearth the secrets buried within the cemetery's hallowed grounds. Undeterred by the keeper's reticence, Rebecca's determination to uncover the truth led her deeper into the labyrinth of Ravenwood's folklore. She ventured into the town's archives, scouring faded manuscripts and dusty records for clues that might unveil the enigma surrounding Old Man Harrington. Amidst the passages of time-worn chronicles and fading ink, Rebecca stumbled upon cryptic accounts, anecdotes hinting at an incident from decades past, an occurrence shrouded in mystery and linked to the whispers that swirled around the graveyard keeper. The accounts spoke of a tragic event, an incident that plunged Ravenwood into mourning, leaving scars upon the town's collective memory. References to an unsolved disappearance, coinciding with Old Man Harrington's arrival as the graveyard keeper, fueled Rebecca's suspicion that a hidden truth lay buried beneath the cemetery's serene facade. With relentless determination, Rebecca sought to confront Old Man Harrington once more, hoping to coax a revelation from the keeper's enigmatic demeanor. She approached him, her voice laced with urgency as she pressed for answers, her inquiries echoing through the silent expanse of Whispering Oak Cemetery. In a rare moment of vulnerability, a haunted expression flickered across Old Man Harrington's weathered face, an echo of pain veiled by years of guarded solitude. His silence spoke volumes, hinting at a burden carried in the recesses of his soul, a secret that lingered like a specter within the graveyard keeper's stoic facade. As the night descended upon the cemetery, a breathtaking realization dawned upon Rebecca, an unsettling truth lurking within the keeper's guarded countenance. In the revelation, the graveyard's shadows seemed to converge, whispering echoes of an obscured past that refused to be silenced. In a heart-stopping moment, Old Man Harrington turned to Rebecca, his eyes a window to the hidden torment veiled by the facade of stoic resolve. With a shudder, he uttered cryptic words, a haunting confession that shattered the silence of the graveyard, a revelation that shook Rebecca to the core. In a voice laden with sorrow and remorse, Old Man Harrington spoke of a dark secret buried within Whispering Oak Cemetery, a buried truth intertwined with his own tragic past. He confessed to a long-buried secret, an unsolved mystery that bound him to the graveyard's silent grounds. Before Rebecca could comprehend the weight of the revelation, a sudden darkness enveloped the cemetery, a malevolent presence that seemed to manifest from the keeper's whispered confession. A haunting specter emerged from the shadows, an apparition draped in the veil of long-forgotten sorrow. With a blood-curdling shriek, the apparition surged forth, an unearthly entity bound to the hidden secret within the cemetery. Its spectral form loomed over Rebecca and Old Man Harrington, its mournful wail echoing through the graveyard in a symphony of tortured echoes. In a sudden pinnacle, the apparition's ethereal touch reached out, enveloping Old Man Harrington within its spectral embrace, an agonizing fate that condemned the graveyard keeper to an eternity bound by the curse of the cemetery's unspoken secret. Rebecca watched in horror as Old Man Harrington's form dissipated into the night, his anguished cries lost amidst the haunting wails that reverberated through the graveyard. The cold encounter left Rebecca paralyzed by terror, a witness to the tragic fate that awaited those entangled within the enigmatic secrets of Whispering Oak Cemetery. Story 7. In the heart of Stonehill Valley, concealed within a veil of dense mist and shadowed by ancient elms, stood the enigmatic cryptic mausoleum, a structure cloaked in whispered tales and centuries-old mysteries. The mausoleum's weathered facade exuded an uncanny allure, drawing curious souls with its cryptic aura and enigmatic presence. Amongst those intrigued by the mausoleum's enigma was Daniel Evans, an inquisitive historian whose fascination with forgotten relics led him to uncover the mysteries veiled by the passage of time. Daniel's tireless quest for historical truths guided him through dusty archives and faded manuscripts, seeking to unravel the secrets that surrounded the cryptic structure. Through his research, Daniel pieced together fragmented narratives, an intricate tapestry woven from centuries of folklore and forgotten tales. Whispers among the locals hinted at the mausoleum's elusive history, a resting place for a noble family shrouded in enigmatic circumstances and steeped in dark legends. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Daniel journeyed to Stonehill Valley, his steps echoing amidst the mist-draped pathways that led to the cryptic mausoleum. The atmosphere was thick with a haunting silence, and an inexplicable chill hung in the air, a prelude to the mysteries veiled within the mausoleum's ancient walls. As Daniel approached the weathered structure, an uncanny sense of fear settled upon him. The mausoleum's dilapidated grandeur bore the weight of forgotten histories, its stony visage adorned with cryptic symbols that hinted at untold secrets waiting to be unveiled. Undeterred by the ominous ambience, Daniel ventured inside the mausoleum, guided by the dim light filtering through stained glass windows that cast kaleidoscopic hues across the chamber's stone walls. The interior lay shrouded in a sepulchral silence, each step echoing through the hallowed halls. As he traversed the mausoleum's labyrinthine corridors, Daniel encountered sarcophagi adorned with ornate carvings and faded inscriptions, a testament to the noble lineage entombed within. The cryptic symbols etched upon the walls hinted at hidden meanings, veiled beneath layers of forgotten lore. In his exploration, Daniel stumbled upon a secluded chamber, an antechamber veiled by shadows and suffused with an odd ambience. The chamber harbored a sinister presence, a cryptic energy that seemed to permeate the very air, urging Daniel to decipher its arcane mysteries. Drawn to an ancient sarcophagus at the chamber's center, Daniel sensed a peculiar resonance, an enigmatic force emanating from the ornately crafted casket. His fingers traced the faded engravings adorning the sarcophagus, attempting to decipher the cryptic symbols that adorned its surface. In a sudden revelation, the chamber seemed to shudder, a disconcerting tremor that reverberated through the stone walls. Shadows coalesced, twisting and contorting into enigmatic shapes that danced along the cryptic inscriptions, teasing Daniel's senses with their elusive meanings. In a heart-stopping moment, a sepulchral groan echoed through the chamber, a haunting lamentation that pierced the silence. The air thickened with an unsettling energy, and a sense of being watched by unseen eyes enveloped Daniel in a frightening embrace. Suddenly, a series of cryptic symbols began to glow upon the sarcophagus, an ominous manifestation that hinted at an ancient secret on the verge of awakening. Daniel's heart raced with trepidation as the mausoleum seemed to pulsate with a hair-raising resonance, a strange presence poised to reveal its enigmatic truth. At a high point, the ancient sarcophagus trembled, an unsettling movement that heralded a sinister revelation. With a blood-curdling shriek, the lid of the sarcophagus shifted, revealing an abyssal darkness that seemed to beckon from within. From the depths of the sarcophagus emerged a ghastly figure, a specter draped in tattered shrouds of time, its hollow gaze fixed upon Daniel. The apparition's anguished visage bore the weight of centuries, an echo of unresolved sorrow bound within the cryptic confines of the mausoleum. With a spectral wail that reverberated through the chamber, the apparition surged forth, an unearthly force that enveloped Daniel in its ethereal embrace. His terrified cries echoed through the mausoleum as the spectral entity claimed him, condemning him to an eternity trapped within the enigmatic shadows of the cryptic mausoleum. As the night settled over Stonehill Valley, an eerie silence descended upon the mausoleum, a testament to the enigmatic secrets that lingered within its ancient walls. Daniel Evans's disappearance became yet another haunting mystery, a real testament to the perils that awaited those who dared to unravel the enigmatic echoes of the past. The Thompsons had recently installed a Ring doorbell camera in their suburban home, hoping to add an extra layer of security. But what began as a safety measure soon turned into a source of unease. One chilly autumn evening, the doorbell rang, and Mr. Thompson hastily checked the live feed on his phone. To his confusion, the screen displayed only the empty porch, bathed in the soft glow of the porch light. No one was there. Strange, he muttered, dismissing it as a glitch. However, a few minutes later, the doorbell chimed again. This time, Mrs. Thompson approached the camera, opening the app on her phone. The screen remained unchanged, an empty porch, devoid of any visitor. But then they heard it, a faint sound, barely audible but distinct enough to scare them. Heavy breathing, ragged and ominous, it seemed to emanate from the speakers of their Ring doorbell. "Did you hear that?" Mrs. Thompson asked, her voice quivering with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Mr. Thompson furrowed his brow, his gaze fixed on the doorbell camera. "Yeah, someone's breathing, but where are they?" The breathing continued, growing louder and more erratic with each passing second. They checked the live feed repeatedly, but it showed nothing but the silent porch. Unease settled in as the breathing persisted, creating an unsettling atmosphere inside the house. The Thompsons exchanged worried glances, feeling the weight of the unknown presence lurking just beyond their front door. Despite their growing discomfort, they decided to investigate. Mr. Thompson cautiously opened the front door, expecting to find someone standing on the porch or nearby, but the chilly night revealed nothing but empty streets and rustling leaves. They retreated indoors, unnerved by the inexplicable occurrence. As the night progressed, the unsettling breathing episodes continued sporadically, always accompanied by the sound of heavy labored breaths, yet never revealing the source. With each occurrence, their nerves frayed, their minds tormented by the relentless and inexplicable phenomenon. Sleep eluded them, replaced by the haunting anticipation of the next instance of a sinister breathing echoing through their home. Hours dragged on, the tension escalating with each passing minute until suddenly the breathing stopped. A deafening silence enveloped the house, amplifying the Thompsons' fear and confusion. Just as they began to exhale a collective sigh of relief, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, resonating from the direction of the Ring doorbell camera. The scream was gut-wrenching and primal, sending shockwaves of terror through the Thompsons. Frozen in terror, they stared at the camera feed, their eyes widening in horror as the screen showed a distorted, contorted face, eyes wide with madness and a twisted, maniacal grin contorting the features of the unknown visitor. Before they could react, the camera abruptly cut to black, plunging them into darkness. The house was silent once again, but this time their fear was palpable, rooted in the horrifying uncertainty of what lay beyond their door. As the Ring doorbell camera abruptly cut to black, leaving the Thompsons in a chilling darkness, panic seized their senses. Mrs. Thompson fumbled for her phone, attempting to reconnect to the camera feed, but the app displayed nothing but a blank screen. Heartbeats thundered in their chests as they stood in the silence, enveloped by the foreboding atmosphere that had invaded their once cozy home. The seconds stretched into an agonizing wait, each moment feeling like an eternity. Suddenly, the tranquility shattered with a resounding crash, the sound of a window shattering in the living room. They exchanged panicked glances, dread gripping their every nerve. Without hesitation, they dashed toward the source of the disturbance. As they entered the living room, a bone-chilling sight greeted them. a figure cloaked in darkness standing amidst the shattered glass, its presence casting a haunting shadow against the moonlit wall. "Who are you? What do you want?" Mr. Thompson's voice quivered with a mix of fear and defiance. The intruder remained silent, their face obscured by the darkness of the hood. A sinister aura emanated from their form, freezing the Thompsons in place, rendering them powerless against the overwhelming terror. With a slow, deliberate movement, the intruder raised a hand, revealing a glint of metal, a menacing blade gleaming in the moonlight. The Thompsons recoiled, their minds racing with a chilling realization they were facing imminent danger. A cacophony of emotions surged within them: fear, desperation, and a futile attempt to comprehend the inexplicable nightmare unfolding before their eyes. Their frantic attempts to reason with the intruder were met with a cold, unyielding silence. Time seemed to stand still as the intruder inched closer, the glint of the blade dancing ominously in the light. The Thompsons backed away, their backs against the wall, the echoes of their racing heartbeats drowning out all other sounds. In a sudden burst of movement, the intruder lunged forward, the blade flashing with deadly intent. A gut-wrenching scream tore through the night, but the source was unclear. Was it the Thompsons or the intruder? In the heart-stopping chaos that ensued, the Thompsons fought desperately to fend off the assailant, their survival instincts kicking into overdrive. A struggle ensued, a harrowing battle between life and death played out in the confines of their home. Adrenaline surged through their veins as they fought for their lives, grappling with the unknown assailant in a desperate bid to escape the impending doom. But the intruder seemed unrelenting, driven by a chilling determination that transcended reason. Amidst the chaos and terror, the Thompsons' world narrowed to a single instinct: survival. With a surge of strength born from sheer desperation, they managed to break free, darting towards the front door. Their pounding footsteps echoed through the house as they raced toward the escape that lay beyond the threshold. As they flung open the door, relief and hope flickered briefly within them, only to be shattered by the shocking sight that awaited them outside. A sinister congregation of hooded figures stood on the porch, surrounding the house in a dark display of silent malevolence. The chilling realization dawned upon the Thompsons. The horror they faced was not a singular event, but part of a hauntingly orchestrated nightmare. Before they could comprehend their dire predicament, the assailant caught up, their menacing presence casting a long, ominous shadow over the Thompsons. In a final horrific moment, the blade struck, and darkness consumed the Thompsons, their anguished cries echoing through the desolate night. A night eternally shrouded in unanswered questions and unimaginable terror. Story 2. It was a typical evening in the serene neighborhood of Maplewood. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across the houses. The street lamps flickered to life, illuminating the quiet streets. Inside one of the cozy homes, the Washingtons were just finishing up dinner when the doorbell rang. Samantha, curious about the unexpected visitor at this hour, glanced at her husband David before heading to the door. She peered through the peephole, finding no one in sight. Puzzled, she noticed the faint glow of the Ring doorbell camera. A notification pinged on her phone. The Ring app displayed a live feed of their doorstep. Squinting at the screen, Samantha saw a man standing there, barely visible in the darkness outside. His features were obscured by a shadowy hood, and his eyes seemed fixed on the camera as though he knew he was being watched. Unease settled in her chest and she called out to David. "Someone's at the door, but they're not there anymore. It's just a man in a hoodie staring at the camera." David joined her, checking the app. "That's odd. Maybe he left. Let me check outside." He stepped onto the porch, scanning the area, but the street remained empty. He returned, reassuring Samantha that there was no one around. As they settled back inside, Samantha couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Hours passed, and the incident faded into the back of their minds until the doorbell rang again. This time they hurried to the camera, but the feed showed only darkness. No one was there. Uneasy, they decided to call the police, suspecting a potential prank or suspicious activity. Minutes crawled by, and just as the police were about to arrive, the doorbell rang again. Samantha's heart raced as she hesitated, contemplating whether to check the feed. David rushed to the door, peeking cautiously outside. But there was no one in sight, just the cold, empty night. Before they could gather their thoughts, a chilling realization dawned on them. The doorbell camera hadn't rung. It was the old-fashioned doorbell this time. A cold feeling ran down Samantha's back. The unease escalated into fear. They exchanged nervous glances, their minds racing with uncertainty and dread. Something was terribly wrong. Their unease turned into terror when they heard faint scratching noises coming from the front door. It was as if someone was dragging their fingernails along the wood, creating a scary symphony of dread. Suddenly, the scratching ceased, replaced by a haunting silence that echoed through the house. Samantha and David exchanged a fearful glance, frozen in place, their minds consumed by fear and uncertainty. Then a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence, echoing from the hallway. They rushed towards the sound, only to find the source, the Ring doorbell camera. The live feed displayed a horrifying scene. A figure cloaked in darkness, their face twisted into a dark and scary grin, staring directly into the camera. As Samantha and David recoiled in horror, the door behind them slammed shut, trapping them in the chilling darkness. The last thing they heard was a whisper, barely audible but unmistakably chilling. "I've been waiting for you." Story 3. In the suburban town of Crestwood, the Monroe family had recently installed a Ring doorbell camera, eager to bolster their home security. However, what began as a safety measure soon led them down a path they could never have anticipated. One chilly evening, the doorbell chimed, and the camera's live feed showed a man standing on the porch, his features partially obscured by the hood of his jacket. Mrs. Monroe peered at the screen, recognizing the man as someone she'd seen on the news, the face of a notorious criminal who had been on the run for weeks. Panic seized her momentarily, but she hesitated, uncertain of what to do. The man glanced directly at the camera, an unsettling grin playing on his lips. His presence creeped them out. "Who is it, dear?" Mr. Monroe asked, noticing his wife's apprehension. "It's nobody," she lied, not wanting to alarm her family. "Maybe just a salesman." Despite her unease, Mrs. Monroe found herself hesitantly pressing the button to unlock the front door. The man stepped inside, his demeanor oddly calm, belying his criminal notoriety. "I need help," he said, his voice carrying a sense of calmness that sent a cold feeling through the room. Mrs. Monroe's heart raced, unsure of how to react. Her instincts told her to call the authorities, but the man's presence rendered her momentarily paralyzed. "Please," he pleaded, his eyes meeting hers. "I'm not what they say. I need shelter." The tension hung thick in the air as Mrs. Monroe exchanged uncertain glances with her husband. They wrestled with the conflicting emotions of fear, sympathy, and an unsettling sense of obligation. Against their better judgment, they allowed the man inside, albeit with cautious trepidation. His presence seemed to cast a pall over the once welcoming atmosphere of their home. As the night progressed, a strange unease settled in. The criminal, whose name they dared not utter, stayed in their guest room. His occasional glimpses and cryptic remarks kept the Monroes on edge, trapped in a constant state of discomfort and anxiety. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, suffocating the family in a cloud of fear and uncertainty. Mrs. Monroe couldn't shake off the unsettling feeling that they had made a grave mistake letting the wanted man inside their home. The man's behavior grew increasingly erratic, his demeanor shifting from pleading desperation to unsettling calmness. It was as if he reveled in the discomfort of his hosts, relishing their unease. As the night wore on, the family attempted to maintain a semblance of normalcy, but the criminal's presence loomed like a menacing shadow, staining their once tranquil haven. In a moment that shattered the fragile facade of normalcy, the man disappeared from his room, leaving behind a cold silence. Panic surged through the Monroes as they frantically searched the house, their hearts pounding with dread. The sickening realization dawned upon them. He was nowhere to be found. They were trapped in a house with a known criminal, his intentions unknown and terrifying. Their frantic search ended abruptly when they stumbled upon a grisly sight in the basement. The man standing amidst a sinister display of newspaper clippings and photographs, all detailing his heinous crimes. Before they could react, the man turned to them, his eyes void of remorse, consumed by a chilling madness that sent terror coursing through the Monroes' veins. In a swift, horrifying moment, he lunged forward, his intentions unmistakably clear. The Monroes' screams pierced the night, echoing the horror of their last moments, a night forever stained with the terror of trusting a stranger. Sarah Turner was an aspiring photographer, renowned for her captivating images capturing the essence of rural life. She often ventured to remote locations to find the perfect shot, and her latest expedition led her to a small town nestled amidst vast cornfields, seeking the ideal photograph to define her portfolio. The town of Briarwood boasted endless fields of golden corn, a picturesque landscape that drew Sarah's artistic eye. Eager to capture the rural charm, she set out one autumn afternoon, navigating the rows of towering stalks, her camera in hand. The afternoon sun cast elongated shadows across the cornfield, creating a surreal ambience that mesmerized Sarah. As she ventured deeper into the labyrinth of stalks, the rustling leaves and whispers of the wind became her symphony, guiding her in pursuit of the perfect shot. Hours passed and Sarah was lost in her passion, absorbed in framing the beauty of the sun-kissed cornfield. However, as dusk descended and the skies turned crimson, a sense of disorientation crept over her. The rows of corn seemed endless, forming an enigmatic maze. Attempting to retrace her steps, Sarah discovered herself disoriented, no longer able to discern the direction back to town. Panic tinged the edges of her consciousness, but she attempted to remain composed, confident in her navigation skills. As twilight deepened into night, the once charming cornfield became an ominous landscape, a daunting labyrinth shrouded in darkness. Sarah's footsteps echoed through the silent rows, the crunching of dry leaves beneath her feet amplifying her growing unease. Faintly, Sarah discerned the sound of whispers. The wind carried ethereal murmurs that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the cornfield. A sensation of being watched enveloped her, and she quickened her pace, desperate to find her way out. In her frantic search for an exit, Sarah stumbled upon a clearing, a small, secluded space within the cornfield. Strange symbols etched into the ground caught her attention, illuminated by an uncanny glow emitted by the moonlight. Captivated yet unnerved by the inexplicable symbols, Sarah felt an inexplicable force pulling her closer. Instinct warned her to retreat, but an irresistible curiosity urged her to investigate further. As she knelt to examine the markings, an overwhelming dizziness consumed her. In a chilling moment, the ground beneath Sarah's feet seemed to shift, a disorienting sensation as if reality twisted around her. Time blurred, and a haunting echo reverberated through the field, drowning her senses in a cacophony of inexplicable sounds. When Sarah regained her bearings, the once familiar cornfield appeared distorted, a different realm that bore no resemblance to the landscape she entered. Panic surged through her veins, but she found herself paralyzed in the inexplicable environment, surrounded by towering stalks that seemed to reach towards the starless sky. A profound sense of dread washed over Sarah, an unsettling realization that she had stumbled into a grim dimension hidden within the cornfield. Desperate attempts to find an escape proved futile as the maze shifted, thwarting her every effort. Suddenly, shadowy figures emerged from the rows of corn, indiscernible shapes that flickered in and out of visibility, haunting echoes that circled Sarah with an ominous presence. Her heart raced with terror as the spectral figures closed in, their intent unknown and their forms shrouded in darkness. In a final moment of sheer horror, the figures enveloped Sarah, an unearthly force that seemed to consume her very essence. Her terrified screams echoed through the surreal landscape before silence engulfed the night, leaving behind a dark emptiness in the cornfield. Sarah Turner had vanished without a trace, lost to the enigmatic depths of the inexplicable realm hidden within the corn. Story 2. In the heart of the countryside nestled the serene farming town of Millfield, renowned for its sprawling fields that stretched as far as the eye could see. Among these fertile expanses, one plot held a dark reputation, Holton's Field. Once a thriving land that yielded bountiful harvests, it now lay barren, haunted by an ominous curse that lingered like an unspoken secret among the townsfolk. Whispers of the curse stemmed from the tragic tale of Old Man Holton, the land's former owner, whose fate had become entwined with the cursed acres. Legends spoke of a Faustian bargain struck between Holton and a mysterious stranger, sealing the land's doom with an unbreakable curse that condemned it to wither and decay. Nathan Monroe, an ambitious farmer driven by a passion to restore the land's lost vitality, seized the opportunity to purchase Holton's field, undeterred by the warnings and superstition shrouding its history. Determined to defy the curse and resurrect the dying acres, Nathan set out on a mission to breathe new life into the desolate soil. As Nathan plowed the fallow fields and sowed the seeds of hope, the air crackled with anticipation. Tender shoots emerged from the once barren earth, a glimmer of promise amidst the cursed land. The townsfolk, skeptical yet hopeful, watched with cautious optimism as the land seemed to respond to Nathan's unwavering dedication. However, the burgeoning promise soon gave way to dread signs that hinted at the curse's spiteful presence. Whispers spread throughout Millfield of peculiar occurrences, strange shapes etched by moonlight on the desolate landscape, spectral rustlings that echoed through the night, and an unnerving aura that enveloped the field. As the crops flourished, so did the ominous undertones. Reports surfaced of shadowy figures lurking among the rows, their elusive forms seemingly shifting and vanishing into the cornstalks. Fear crept insidiously through the town. The legend of Old Man Holton's curse resurrected, casting a haunting pall over the community. Undeterred by the mounting unease, Nathan forged ahead, driven by an unyielding determination to witness the transformation of the cursed acres. The ripening cornfields swayed in the gentle autumn breeze, a haunting symphony that filled the air with an unsettling melody. Yet it was on the eve of the harvest when the town's darkest fears materialized. The harvest moon ascended, casting an odd glow over Holton's field, as an ethereal fog enveloped the land, concealing it in a strange haze. The once promising crops now bore a ghastly countenance, twisted and contorted stalks warped and mutated beyond recognition. A disconcerting chill gripped Nathan's heart as the fields transformed, an unnatural metamorphosis that defied explanation. Sinister shadows danced amidst the twisted rows, their ominous movements drawing Nathan's gaze with a morbid fascination. As Nathan ventured further into the cursed expanse, the shadows coalesced, morphing into ghostly figures that materialized from the cursed soil. Spectral entities, embodiments of the dark curse, emerged from the land, their ghastly forms pulsating with an unearthly evil. Frozen in terror, Nathan stood amidst the haunting spectacle, paralyzed by fear and disbelief. The spectral entities encircled him, their ethereal presence suffocating and oppressive. Panic surged through Nathan's veins as he realized the gravity of the curse that now held him captive. With an ear-splitting shriek that reverberated through the desolate field, the entities surged forth, their ghostly apparitions ensnaring Nathan within their ethereal grasp. Agonizing cries echoed through the cursed expanse, a chilling lament that marked Nathan's descent into the dark abyss of Old Man Holton's curse. The cursed land had claimed its latest victim, leaving behind a harrowing testament to the relentless grip of an ancient curse. As dawn broke over Millfield, the cursed acres stood silent and desolate, a haunting reminder of the tragic fate that befell those who dared to challenge the ominous legacy of Holton's field. Story 3. In the heart of a rural community lay the idyllic town of Greenview, surrounded by vast expanses of cornfields that extended as far as the eye could see. Among these fields lay a shadow that tainted the serene landscape, the chilling legend of the cornfield murders. The tale of the cornfield murders haunted Greenview, an unsolved mystery that shook every resident. It began a decade ago when a series of heinous crimes transpired, all linked to the vast cornfields that defined the town's landscape. The first victim, Rachel Thompson, a local schoolteacher, went missing on a balmy summer evening. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, leaving behind only a few cryptic clues, signs of a struggle near the edge of the cornfields and faint traces of footsteps leading into the maze-like expanse. As the investigation into Rachel's disappearance commenced, a disturbing pattern emerged. More residents vanished under eerily similar circumstances. Each victim had one thing in common: they were last seen near or within the labyrinth of cornstalks that enveloped Greenview. Detective Mark Stevens, a seasoned investigator haunted by the unsolved cases, delved into the chilling enigma that plagued the town. His pursuit led him to the edge of the cornfields, a dreadful expanse that seemed to hold the secrets to the baffling disappearances. Despite exhaustive searches and relentless investigations, the maze-like nature of the cornfields defied logic, thwarting attempts to unravel the mystery. The townsfolk grew apprehensive, avoiding the fields after dark, fearful of falling prey to an elusive predator that lurked within the shadows. Sarah Wilson, a young journalist eager to unearth the truth, arrived in Greenview, drawn by the enigmatic aura surrounding the cornfield murders. As Sarah delved deeper into the town's haunting legacy, she encountered a mosaic of chilling accounts. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah ventured into the fields, navigating the twisting paths in search of answers. The dense rows of corn towered above her, casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance in the moonlight, forming a strange tapestry. As Sarah probed further into the labyrinth, an unsettling sensation of being watched enveloped her. Faint whispers carried by the rustling leaves echoed in the silent night, as though the cornfield itself harbored a hidden darkness. In a moment of chilling revelation, Sarah stumbled upon a clearing within the cornfield marked by a grotesque sight, a circle of symbols etched into the ground. The symbols pulsated with a dark glow, casting an ominous aura that sent a tremor down Sarah's back. Before Sarah could decipher the cryptic symbols, a shadowy figure emerged from the corn rows, shattering the silence. Panic surged through her veins as she recognized the dark silhouette, its scary presence looming closer. With a sudden realization, Sarah understood the harrowing truth. The cornfield concealed a sinister entity that preyed upon unsuspecting victims, ensnaring them within its ominous depths. Before she could flee, the shadowy figure lunged forth, its ghostly apparition enveloping Sarah in an ethereal grasp. Her terrified screams pierced the night, a harrowing chorus that echoed through the silent fields before fading into a mysterious silence. As dawn broke over Greenview, Sarah Wilson became the latest victim claimed by the cornfield murders, leaving behind an unsolved mystery that continued to cast its haunting shadow over the town. The labyrinth of cornstalks stood as a grim testament to the chilling fate of those who dared to venture into its sinister embrace. Story 4. Nestled in the heart of the countryside lay the serene town of Ashwood, bordered by endless stretches of cornfields that whispered tales of an ancient secret. Among the town's enigmatic folklore lay the legend of the ancient tunnels, a network of mysterious underground passages concealed beneath the fertile soil of Ashwood's sprawling fields. The tale of the ancient tunnels was woven into the fabric of Ashwood's history. Centuries ago, a forgotten civilization had left behind a labyrinth of subterranean tunnels beneath the fertile lands, a testament to an age lost to time. The tunnels were said to hold ancient relics and untold secrets, hidden from the world above. As the modern world encroached upon Ashwood, the legend of the tunnels became a distant memory, fading into obscurity. However, rumors persisted among the town's older residents, whispers of hidden entrances scattered throughout the cornfields, waiting to be rediscovered. Matthew Hayes, an aspiring archaeologist captivated by the town's mysterious past, arrived in Ashwood, drawn by the elusive legend of the ancient tunnels. Determined to unearth the truth behind the folklore, Matthew embarked on an ambitious quest to unearth the secrets buried within the cornfield's depths. His fervent search led him to the outskirts of town, where the sprawling cornfields stretched endlessly. Armed with ancient maps and enigmatic clues gleaned from folklore, Matthew embarked on a solitary expedition, weaving through the rows of towering cornstalks in search of the hidden entrances. Days turned into weeks as Matthew meticulously scoured the fields, his tireless efforts driven by an insatiable curiosity. As twilight descended, a sense of anticipation coursed through him, accompanied by the silence that enveloped the deserted fields. In a moment of startling discovery, Matthew stumbled upon an overgrown mound nestled amidst the cornfield, a subtle anomaly that caught his attention. Excitement surged as he uncovered an ancient entrance concealed beneath layers of earth and vegetation, a portal to the forgotten world beneath the soil. With cautious reverence, Matthew descended into the depths of the subterranean passageway, its dank interior cloaked in shadows that seemed to harbor echoes of a long-lost civilization. The air was thick with a musty scent, a reminder of centuries that had passed since the tunnels were last traversed. As Matthew ventured deeper into the labyrinthine network, ancient symbols etched into the walls caught his eye, their significance shrouded in mystery. His footsteps echoed through the cavernous passages, reverberating like a haunting melody that stirred an inexplicable sense of trepidation within him. In the heart of the tunnels, Matthew encountered a chamber adorned with ancient artifacts, an enigmatic tableau frozen in time. Forgotten relics lay scattered amidst the chamber, each bearing the weight of a forgotten era that whispered tales of an age long past. Suddenly, a chilling realization dawned upon Matthew. The tunnels were not merely a relic of the past, but a repository of ancient malevolence. Unearthly whispers echoed through the darkness, carrying a sinister resonance that freaked him out. In a harrowing moment, the chamber trembled with an otherworldly force, the walls pulsating with an ominous energy. Before Matthew could comprehend the danger that loomed, the tunnels unleashed their wrath. The subterranean passages convulsed violently, trapping Matthew within their ancient grip. A deafening roar reverberated through the tunnels as the earth itself seemed to rise against him. Unseen forces encircled him, their spectral presence suffocating and oppressive. In a chilling crescendo, the tunnels sealed shut, trapping Matthew within their dark embrace. His anguished cries echoed through the buried depths before fading into a scary silence, leaving behind only whispers of the horrors that lurked within the ancient tunnels of Ashwood, a cryptic testament to a fate entwined with the secrets of a forgotten civilization. Story 5. In the heart of the countryside stood the tranquil town of Greenleaf, enveloped by vast swaths of cornfields that held a chilling secret, the enigmatic crop circle mystery. Whispers of mysterious symbols etched into the cornfields circulated among the townsfolk, hinting at an unexplained phenomenon that left an unnatural mark on the landscape. The crop circle mystery had haunted Greenleaf for years, each intricate pattern in the cornfields, a riddle that defied explanation. Tales spoke of bizarre formations appearing overnight, intricate glyphs carved into the cornstalks with uncanny precision, leaving behind an enigmatic puzzle that confounded both residents and scientists alike. Among the townsfolk, speculation ran rampant, theories ranging from extraterrestrial visitations to elaborate hoaxes. However, the truth behind the cryptic symbols remained elusive, shrouded in an unsettling air of mystery. Alexandra Evans, a determined investigative journalist, arrived in Greenleaf, drawn by the enigmatic tales of the crop circle mystery. Intrigued by the unexplained phenomenon, Alexandra set out to unravel the truth behind the weird glyphs that adorned the cornfields, armed with a relentless curiosity and a desire for answers. Her pursuit led her deep into the heart of the cornfields, where the towering stalks formed an intimidating maze. The evening sun cast elongated shadows, creating an ethereal ambience that added to the mystery shrouding the landscape. As Alexandra ventured further, she stumbled upon the first signs of the inexplicable phenomenon, a vast expanse of cornstalks that bore intricate patterns, forming a labyrinth of enigmatic symbols etched into the soil. The glyphs were a mesmerizing sight, their complex designs hinting at an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Alexandra meticulously examined the formations, the precision of the glyphs leaving her awestruck and unsettled simultaneously. In the twilight hours, the cornfield seemed to awaken with an uncanny presence. Faint whispers carried by the rustling leaves danced through the air, as though the fields themselves were alive with a mystical energy. Alexandra's senses tingled with an inexplicable foreboding. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Alexandra delved deeper into the heart of the glyph-marked fields, determined to uncover the truth. The air crackled with an ethereal aura, the glyphs pulsating with an ethereal glow that intensified as she approached. In a chilling revelation, Alexandra realized the glyphs were more than mere symbols. They were a conduit, a bridge between worlds, and the catalyst for an evil-minded force lurking beneath the cornfields. As she stood amidst the mesmerizing formations, a deafening silence enveloped the fields before an unearthly resonance reverberated through the air. The glyphs began to shift and contort, an ominous transformation that heralded the descent of an ancient darkness. Before Alexandra could comprehend the danger, the glyphs released in mystic energy, ensnaring her within their eldritch grasp. An agonizing scream tore through the night as she became intertwined with the ominous force that lay dormant beneath the soil. In a final moment of horror, the glyphs sealed shut, swallowing Alexandra within their cryptic embrace. Her anguished cries echoed through the desolate fields before fading into a silence, leaving behind only whispers of the chilling fate that befell those who dared to unravel the mysteries of the crop circle glyphs. Story 6. In the heart of the rural town of Milford, enveloped by vast cornfields that stretched across the horizon, lay the unsettling legend of the cornfield abduction. It was a chilling tale whispered among the townsfolk, a story that spoke of inexplicable disappearances haunting the labyrinthine rows of the cornfields. The legend traced back to a series of baffling events that unfolded years ago. It began with the mysterious disappearance of a young couple, Anna and Jacob, who ventured into the cornfields on a moonlit summer evening, never to return. Their absence sent shockwaves through the town, igniting speculation and fear within the community. Desperate searches yielded no trace of the missing couple, leaving behind only cryptic clues, an abandoned flashlight near the edge of the cornfields and fragmented footprints leading into the rows. As the town grappled with the unresolved mystery, more incidents emerged. Reports surfaced of strange occurrences, a disorienting sense of being watched while traversing the cornfields, peculiar lights flickering among the stalks, and an ominous aura that hung over the fields, fueling the folklore of the cornfield abduction. Detective Benjamin Hayes, haunted by the unsolved cases, devoted himself to unraveling the enigma shrouding the cornfields. He delved into the labyrinthine paths, studying the patterns of disappearances and seeking clues that might reveal the truth behind the unsettling legend. Among the townsfolk, tales of strange encounters and fleeting glimpses of elusive figures among the cornstalks spread like wildfire. Many attributed the phenomenon to extraterrestrial activity or clandestine experiments, while others believed in a more terrestrial, albeit unknown threat lurking amidst the rows. Amidst the speculations, Lydia Campbell, an inquisitive young reporter eager to uncover the truth, arrived in Milford. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Lydia embarked on an investigation into the cornfield abduction, determined to unravel the chilling mystery. Guided by the folklore, Lydia ventured into the cornfields, her footsteps echoing through the silent rows. The moon cast an eerie glow upon the sprawling expanse, creating haunting silhouettes that danced amidst the swaying stalks. As Lydia navigated the labyrinth of the cornfields, an unsettling sensation of being watched enveloped her. Faint whispers carried by the rustling leaves seemed to echo cryptic messages through the night, heightening her sense of trepidation. In a chilling moment, Lydia stumbled upon a clearing in the heart of the cornfield, a subtle anomaly amidst the rows. Strange markings etched into the soil caught her attention, an intricate pattern reminiscent of the tales surrounding the abductions. Before she could decipher the cryptic symbols, an inexplicable force gripped Lydia, engulfing her in an ethereal aura. Panic surged through her veins as she realized the impending danger lurking within the cornfields. In a harrowing crescendo, the rows around Lydia seemed to warp and distort, an unsettling transformation that defied reality. She found herself ensnared within a tight grip, an unseen force that rendered her powerless. In a final moment of horror, Lydia's cries pierced the night before the rows of corn enveloped her, swallowing her whole. The silence that followed echoed with a haunting emptiness, leaving behind only whispers of the terrifying fate that befell those who dared to tread into the sinister depths of the cornfield abduction. Story 7. In the heart of the countryside nestled the picturesque town of Willowbrook, surrounded by sprawling cornfields that whispered tales of a haunting mystery, the legend of the haunting echoes. Among the townsfolk, stories circulated of inexplicable phenomena that echoed through the rustling stalks, leaving behind an odd atmosphere that cast a shadow over the otherwise tranquil community. The legend of the haunting echoes traced back to a tragic incident that occurred decades ago. It began with the unexplained disappearance of a local farmer, Samuel Taylor, who ventured into the cornfields on a fog-shrouded night and vanished without a trace. Samuel's sudden disappearance became a chilling enigma, haunting the town for years to come. As time passed, whispers spread of strange occurrences within the cornfields. Residents reported unsettling echoes that reverberated through the stalks, an abnormal chorus that lingered in the air, faint whispers that seemed to convey cryptic messages, and an unshakable feeling of being watched amidst the rows. Among the townsfolk, superstitions mingled with curiosity, theories ranging from ghostly visitations to natural phenomena. Yet the truth behind the enigmatic echoes remained elusive, shrouded in an unsettling air of mystery. Emma Reynolds, an intrepid investigator with an insatiable thirst for unraveling unsolved mysteries, arrived in Willowbrook, drawn by the chilling tales of the haunting echoes. Determined to shed light on the mysterious phenomenon, Emma embarked on an investigation, armed with her unwavering resolve and a thirst for truth. Her exploration led her to the outskirts of the cornfields, where the towering stalks formed an intricate maze. The wind whispered through the rows, creating an ethereal ambience that seemed to carry murmurs of long-forgotten secrets. As Emma ventured deeper into the heart of the cornfields, an uncanny sensation enveloped her, an inexplicable presence that seemed to watch her every move. Whispers carried by the rustling leaves sounded like faint echoes of distant voices, heightening her sense of foreboding. In a moment of chilling discovery, Emma stumbled upon a clearing nestled amidst the cornstalks, a peculiar space that seemed to emit a mystical energy. Strange symbols etched into the soil caught her attention, an intricate pattern that echoed the tales of the haunting echoes. Before Emma could decipher the cryptic symbols, an unsettling phenomenon unfurled around her. The rows of corn seemed to come alive, swaying in an unnaturally synchronized motion. The air crackled within dark resonance as the echoes intensified, forming an unsettling chorus that reverberated through the night. As Emma stood amidst the haunting tableau, a sudden realization struck her. The echoes were not mere sounds, but a conduit to an ancient malevolence lurking within the cornfields. In a spine-chilling crescendo, the echoes coalesced, swirling around Emma in an ethereal dance. An unseen force seized her, enveloping her in an overwhelming grip, an icy coldness that rendered her paralyzed. In a final moment of horror, the echoes consumed Emma, their haunting resonance drowning her in an abyss of chilling whispers. The silence that followed was deafening, leaving behind only whispers of the terrifying fate that befell those who dared to probe the chilling depths of the haunting echoes. Story 8. In the heart of the countryside stood the quaint town of Rockwell, encircled by vast expanses of cornfields that held a chilling secret: the legend of the cornfield cult. Whispers of a clandestine group that lurked amidst the rows, practicing rituals shrouded in secrecy, haunted the townsfolk, casting an ominous shadow over the serene community. The legend of the cornfield cult was steeped in mystery, stemming from a dark chapter in Rockwell's history. It was said to have originated generations ago, when a charismatic leader, Reverend Elijah Grant, established a fervent following, preaching doctrines of devotion to the land and the bountiful harvest it promised. The townsfolk whispered tales of sinister gatherings held within the cornfields, a secluded sect that adhered to arcane rituals beneath the moon's pale glow. Strange symbols etched into the soil and whispered incantations became the whispers of the cult's presence, leaving the townsfolk gripped by fear. Detective Mia Thompson, renowned for her unrelenting pursuit of the truth, arrived in Rockwell, drawn by the haunting rumors of the cornfield cult. Determined to unravel the mystery, Mia embarked on an investigation, propelled by her tenacious spirit and a commitment to uncover the chilling truth. Her inquiries led her to the outskirts of the cornfields, where the whispering stalks formed an intimidating maze. The rustling leaves carried an uncanny ambience, setting the stage for a confrontation with the unknown. As Mia delved deeper into the heart of the cornfields, a sensation of being watched enveloped her. The air crackled with an unsettling energy, and the faint murmur of distant chants seemed to echo amidst the rows, heightening her sense of unease. In a chilling revelation, Mia stumbled upon a clearing nestled amidst the cornstalks, a sight that bore the unmistakable signs of the cult's clandestine activities. Strange symbols adorned the soil, remnants of eerie rituals conducted under the cloak of darkness. Before she could process the implications of her discovery, an ominous presence materialized from the shadows. A group of hooded figures emerged from the corn rows, their faces obscured by dark robes, their eyes ablaze with fervent devotion. Realizing the danger that loomed, Mia attempted to retreat, but it was too late. The cultists encircled her, their fervor fueled by unwavering devotion to their leader's teachings. In a harrowing crescendo, the cultists seized Mia, binding her in a ritual. Unearthly chants reverberated through the night, invoking an ancient force that pervaded the air, suffocating and oppressive. As Mia struggled against the cultists' grip, a chilling realization dawned upon her. The cornfield cult was not merely a group of fanatics, but an entity that wielded a sinister influence over the land itself. In a final moment of horror, the cultists conducted their ritual, offering Mia as a sacrifice to appease the land. Her screams pierced the night before being swallowed by an ominous silence, leaving behind only whispers of the terrifying fate that awaited those who dared to confront the dark secrets of the cornfield cult. In a quaint suburban town nestled among the autumn-kissed trees, the Johnson family was gearing up for their annual Thanksgiving gathering. The crisp air outside hinted at the impending holiday, while inside the aroma of roasting turkey and simmering spices filled the cozy household. Warm hues of amber and gold adorned the walls, casting a welcoming glow upon the family members as they bustled about, preparing for the festive evening ahead. Margaret Johnson, the matriarch of the family, was orchestrating the culinary symphony in the kitchen. Her husband Thomas was meticulously arranging the dining table, making sure every detail was perfect for the impending feast. Meanwhile, their two children, Emily and James, were setting up the living room, adorning it with autumnal decorations and flickering candles to create a comforting ambience. As the day waned and darkness draped over the neighborhood, a sense of anticipation filled the Johnson household. However, unbeknownst to them, a horrific scenario was about to unravel. Far across town, at the local psychiatric institution, a man named Gabriel Smith had been undergoing treatment for severe schizophrenia. Gabriel had been committed after a series of violent episodes and delusions that made him a danger to himself and others. Despite the institution's strict security measures, Gabriel had managed to devise a plan, exploiting a moment of negligence by the staff to escape into the night. Disoriented and consumed by his fractured reality, Gabriel embarked on a harrowing journey through the moonlit streets. His mind was a labyrinth of tormenting whispers, urging him to find his way back to a place he vaguely remembered, a place where he believed his fractured memories could be made whole. As the Johnsons continued their Thanksgiving preparations, a sudden knock echoed through the quiet neighborhood. Thomas, curious about the unexpected visitor, made his way to the front door, assuming it might be an early guest. However, as he swung the door open, he was greeted not by a friendly face, but by a disheveled figure standing in the shadows. It was Gabriel, his eyes wide with a manic intensity, and his demeanor erratic, a stark contrast to the serene ambience of the holiday. "Please, I need to find her," Gabriel muttered, his voice trembling with urgency, his hands shaking uncontrollably. Thomas, taken aback by the stranger's frantic state, attempted to calm him down. "Who are you looking for? Can we help you?" But Gabriel's gaze remained fixed, his words disjointed. "She's here. I know she's here. I have to find her before it's too late." Sensing the man's distress, Thomas hesitated, unsure of how to handle the situation. Before he could respond, Gabriel pushed past him, rushing into the house with an unsettling determination. The sudden intrusion startled Margaret and the rest of the family. Emily let out a startled gasp, while James stood frozen, uncertain of what to do. "Who are you? What do you want?" Margaret demanded, her voice laced with concern and a hint of fear. Gabriel's eyes darted around the room, his breath shallow and rapid. "I need to find her. She's my daughter. They took her away, but I know she's here." The tension in the room escalated as Gabriel's presence became increasingly unsettling. His frenzied search led him through the house, overturning furniture and rummaging through belongings in a desperate quest that made the family uneasy and fearful. Attempting to defuse the situation, Thomas cautiously approached Gabriel. "Sir, please calm down. We don't have anyone here." Before he could finish his sentence, Gabriel's erratic behavior reached its crescendo. With a guttural scream, he lunged at Thomas, his eyes ablaze with madness. The family's shrieks reverberated through the house as chaos erupted. Furniture crashing and the once serene Thanksgiving atmosphere shattered. In a horrifying blur, Gabriel unleashed a frenzied assault, wielding objects at the family in a frenzy fueled by his fractured reality. Margaret's cries echoed in the chaos as James and Emily scrambled to escape the onslaught, their hearts pounding with terror. Amidst the pandemonium, a chilling realization struck the family. Gabriel was not merely a stranger, but a harbinger of unfathomable horror, an embodiment of relentless madness unleashed upon their tranquil Thanksgiving celebration. The harrowing ordeal culminated in a scene of unfathomable horror, a nightmare etched into the Johnson family's memory forever, a stark reminder of how swiftly and mercilessly darkness could descend upon the most joyous of occasions. As the sirens wailed in the distance, echoing the arrival of law enforcement, the once vibrant household stood desolate, a haunting tableau of Thanksgiving turned tragically nightmarish, a tale of a broken mind that shattered the serenity of a family's cherished gathering, leaving behind a trail of unspeakable horror and irreparable devastation. Story 2. In the picturesque town of Maplewood Hills, the serene air was thick with the essence of autumn, painting the landscape in hues of gold and crimson. The Stevens family was bustling with anticipation, eagerly preparing for their annual Thanksgiving celebration. Sarah Stevens, the mother of the household, had spent days meticulously planning the feast, while her husband David tended to the fireplace, filling the home with a cozy warmth that contrasted the crisp November breeze outside. Their children, Michael and Rebecca, were giddy with excitement, hanging decorative turkeys and cornucopias, transforming the house into a festive haven. Laughter and the aroma of roasting turkey wafted through the air, promising a joyous evening of gratitude and togetherness. As dusk descended, an unexpected knock echoed through the Stevens' door, interrupting the harmonious ambience. Sarah, puzzled by the unanticipated visitor, opened the door to reveal a figure standing in the dimming light, an elderly man with weathered features and a somber demeanor. It was George Reynolds, a distant relative Sarah hadn't seen in years. "George, what a surprise! Come in, come in!" Sarah greeted him warmly, though a flicker of uncertainty danced in her eyes. George, clad in worn clothing and bearing a heaviness in his gaze, hesitated before stepping into the welcoming embrace of the Stevens household. His presence evoked an unsettling aura that lingered in the air, an unspoken tension palpable among the family members. "I hope it's not too late to join your celebration, Sarah," George said softly, his voice tinged with a hint of regret. "Of course not, George. We're delighted to have you here," Sarah replied, masking her unease with a gracious smile. As George settled in, his presence cast a shadow over the jovial atmosphere. The family attempted to engage him in conversation, but George remained distant, lost in his thoughts, occasionally offering solemn remarks that disrupted the festive cheer. Throughout the evening, Sarah observed George's demeanor with a growing sense of disquiet. Memories of distant whispers about George's troubled past surfaced in her mind. A past marked by a grim incident that had stained the family's history. Years ago, George had been involved in a harrowing incident, a murder that had sent shockwaves through their family. He had served his time in prison, but the haunting specter of that dark chapter lingered, an uncomfortable reality Sarah had hoped to bury in the depths of forgotten memories. As the evening progressed, unease simmered beneath the veneer of familial warmth. George's presence felt like a looming specter, his hollow stares and subdued demeanor casting a scary pall over the gathering. As the family sat down for their Thanksgiving meal, an unsettling silence settled upon the table. The clinking of utensils against plates was accompanied by fleeting glances exchanged between family members, an unspoken acknowledgement of the disquietude that George's presence had stirred. Midway through the meal, a somber hush enveloped the room, shattered only by George's sudden words, uttered in a tone that pierced through the tranquility. "I remember this place," George mumbled, his voice hollow, eyes fixed on a distant corner of the dining room. Sarah's heart skipped a beat as she exchanged a worried glance with David. Unnerved by George's cryptic statement, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. Suddenly, a dark realization dawned upon Sarah. The unsettling silence that had cloaked George's past, the distant whispers, all converged into a haunting moment of dreadful recognition. Before anyone could react, George's countenance contorted into a visage of anguish and remorse. With a tortured expression, he stood abruptly, knocking over his chair in a startling motion that shattered the fragile semblance of normalcy. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," George whispered, his voice laden with guilt as he clutched his chest, his body trembling violently. The room fell into a stunned silence, the air thick with disbelief and horror. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she watched in frozen terror, realizing the grim truth that was unraveling before her eyes. In a haunting culmination, George collapsed to the ground, convulsing in agony, his anguished cries echoing through the once celebratory household. Shocked and paralyzed by the unfolding horror, the family could only stare in sheer terror as George's body convulsed and writhed, a haunting finale to their Thanksgiving gathering. Amidst the chaos and distress, the truth unfolded. The harrowing burden of George's past had consumed him, unleashing an unfathomable nightmare upon the Stevens family, forever staining their cherished Thanksgiving with the unbearable weight of a dark and ghastly revelation. Story 3. In the cozy town of Willowbrook, anticipation filled the air as families prepared for the cherished Thanksgiving celebration. The Reed family, adorned in warm sweaters and smiles, gathered around the dining table, their home illuminated by the soft glow of flickering candles. Mark Reed, the patriarch, had spent the morning roasting the perfect turkey, while his wife Emily skillfully crafted an array of delectable side dishes, filling the house with enticing aromas. Their children, Ethan and Olivia, buzzed with excitement, eagerly setting the table with vibrant autumn-themed decorations. The mood was festive, and laughter echoed within the walls as the family anticipated the arrival of their relatives for the Thanksgiving feast. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a knock on the door shattered the serene atmosphere. Mark, puzzled by the unexpected interruption, answered the door to find two stern-faced police officers standing on his porch. A chill ran down his back at the sight of their grim expressions. "Mr. Reed, we need to speak with you," one of the officers stated, his voice laced with solemnity. Bewildered and apprehensive, Mark invited them in, his mind racing with confusion and concern. Emily and the children watched in worried silence as the officers explained the purpose of their visit, an allegation connecting Mark to a recent homicide in the vicinity. Mark's heart sank, and a wave of disbelief washed over him as he vehemently denied any involvement. The officers, however, insisted that they had evidence linking him to the crime scene. They informed Mark that they needed to take him into custody for further questioning. Stunned and desperate to clear his name, Mark attempted to reassure his family. "I promise, it's a mistake. I'll sort this out and be back soon," he assured them, his voice wavering with uncertainty. As the officers escorted Mark away, Emily and the children stood in shock, grappling with the sudden upheaval that had shattered their Thanksgiving bliss. Fear and confusion clouded their thoughts as they watched Mark being led away, their hearts heavy with disbelief. Hours passed, and the once vibrant household now felt eerily desolate without its patriarch. Emily struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy for the sake of Ethan and Olivia, but the weight of uncertainty hung heavily in the air, casting a pall over the Thanksgiving celebration. As the evening wore on, anxiety gnawed at Emily's core, and the children's fretful glances mirrored her distress. With every passing moment, the absence of Mark loomed larger, an ominous void that tainted the warmth of their familial gathering. Then a sudden ring of the doorbell pierced the silence, jolting Emily and the children from their worried thoughts. Ethan rushed to answer the door, hoping for Mark's return, but his hopes were shattered as he faced a disheveled man standing in the doorway. It was Mark, but his countenance was a haunting contrast to his usual demeanor. His eyes held a hollow emptiness, his clothing disheveled, and an air of desolation clung to him like a shroud. "Mark, what happened? Are you okay?" Emily's voice trembled with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Mark's response was a hollow whisper devoid of its usual warmth. "I didn't do it. I didn't..." He trailed off, his words trailing into a haunting silence. Before anyone could comprehend the gravity of the situation, Mark staggered forward, his gaze fixed on an unseen horror that seemed to consume him from within. With a sudden, shocking realization, Emily and the children recoiled in terror as Mark's hands trembled violently, clutching something, a blood-stained knife. In a horrifying twist of fate, the truth slowly unraveled, a truth too devastating to comprehend. Mark's fragmented recollections and the damning evidence against him collided in a dark revelation, a revelation that shook the foundation of the Reed family's world. Unable to bear the weight of his torment, Mark's shattered psyche succumbed to a terrifying reality. With a gut-wrenching scream, he raised the knife, plunging it into his own chest, the metallic tang of blood mingling with the acrid scent of tragedy. Shock and horror paralyzed Emily and the children, their cries drowned by the sudden nightmarish crescendo that shattered the once hopeful Thanksgiving celebration. The gut-wrenching sight of their beloved father and husband succumbing to the depths of despair stained their cherished memories, forever etching a harrowing finale to their once joyous holiday gathering. Story 4. The air hung heavy with the fragrant promise of Thanksgiving, a day for warmth, laughter, and family. The Carter household bustled with activity. The aroma of roasting turkey permeated every corner, blending harmoniously with the sweet scent of pumpkin pie. In the heart of the kitchen, Mrs. Carter orchestrated the culinary symphony, meticulously stirring gravies and basting the golden turkey with utmost care. Mr. Carter, with a jovial smile, prepared the dining room, adorning it with autumnal decorations, while their children, Sarah and Michael, playfully set the table, their laughter echoing through the house. As dusk began to descend, guests trickled in, relatives bearing pies, casseroles, and heartfelt smiles. Warm embraces and cheerful greetings filled the air, enveloping the house in a cocoon of familial bliss. Stories of yesteryears intermingled with peals of laughter, forging memories to be cherished for years to come. As the night wore on, the Carter residence glowed with contentment, the crackling fire in the hearth casting a gentle warmth over the gathering. Amidst the lively chatter, a disconcerting sense of unease began to pervade the atmosphere. A faint smell of smoke wafted into the room, initially dismissed as a mere errant ember from the fireplace. Unbeknownst to the jubilant occupants, a sinister presence lurked just beyond their sanctuary. A dark figure, cloaked in shadows, skulked in the periphery, clandestinely surveying the house, a simmering resentment fueling their every move. Unnoticed amidst the revelry, the figure's malevolent intent festered, stoking the flames of a nefarious scheme. Outside, under the cloak of night, the figure moved with ominous purpose, dousing the walls with a volatile accelerant. The air grew thick with the acrid scent of gasoline as the fiend meticulously drenched the foundation of the Carter home, marking it for destruction. Each sloshing step echoed their vengeful resolve, their heart pulsating with a sinister rhythm. With the stealth of a specter, the figure retreated into the shadows, a flickering match igniting their sinister design. The flame danced to life, a malevolent entity born from the betrayal seeping through the cracks of the night. It crept along the walls, greedily devouring the home, a monstrous fiend unleashed by the twisted desires of one consumed by hatred. Inside, the jovial symphony of laughter abruptly ceased as a faint crackling sound breached the festivities. Initially dismissed as part of the fireplace's ambience, dread slithered into the hearts of the celebrants as wisps of smoke curled around the doorframes. Panic seized the gathering. The festive cheer devolved into frantic chaos. Sarah's piercing scream pierced the clamor, her eyes wide with terror as she beheld the tendrils of fire licking at the walls. Reality twisted into a nightmarish tableau, the once joyous home now a blazing inferno devouring everything in its insatiable hunger. Mr. and Mrs. Carter ushered their guests towards the exits, their faces etched with terror and determination. Smoke billowed, choking the once pristine air while flames roared, devouring memories and dreams in equal measure. Amidst the pandemonium, the figure watched from the shadows, their twisted grin a grotesque mask of satisfaction. Heart-wrenching sobs echoed through the night as the Carter family, surrounded by the anguished cries of their loved ones, stumbled into the cold embrace of the night, their sanctuary reduced to a fiery abyss. The flames painted an infernal portrait against the dark canvas of the night sky, their home, a mere skeleton consumed by the insatiable appetite of destruction. With a final roar, the structure collapsed in a cacophony of splintering wood and billowing flames, a haunting crescendo to the symphony of terror. The figure, shrouded in darkness, vanished into the night, leaving behind the smoldering ruins and shattered lives, a twisted legacy etched in the embers of treachery. The echoes of that fateful Thanksgiving night lingered, a haunting reminder of the fragility of joy, the devastation wrought by betrayal, and the horrifying depths of human malevolence. The Carter family's once joyous celebration lay ensnared in the clutches of an unforgiving fate, their lives forever scarred by the flames of betrayal that ravaged their home and shattered their world in a terrifying denouement of horror.